Hey, can I use your computer fast?
Yeah. Cool. What do you think?
Yeah. That's why you got out of here before you approved too many different things. Other people's money.
No, it's not.
I can watch it and prepare myself.
Are there any outstanding ballots? Last call for outstanding ballots. On a 27 to 26 with one abstaining, Senator Page is your new academic affairs chair.
I state your name.
I, Nicholas Page,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of academic affairs chair
the duties of the office of Academic Affairs Chair
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same
at all times, to protect the welfare of the student body,
at all times, to protect the welfare of the student body
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students
between the students
and those concerned with the university.
and those concerned with the university.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Chair Page. We'll now move to a period of constituency affairs, chair elections. And I will now open up the nominations for the constituency affairs chair. Senator Giles.
Senator Giles.
Giles.
I'd like to nominate Adam Hutton.
Senator Hutton, you accept.
Senator has not yet decided to set the nomination.
Okay, so we have one nominee as Adam Hutton. Are there any other nominations for constituency affairs chair? Yes, Senator Springer.
Chair for the legislative church, I'd like to nominate Senator Butler.
Are there any seconds? Seconded. Chair, or Senator Bogler, do you accept? I do. All right, are there any other nominations at this time? Seeing none, I'll close the period of nominations. And we'll now, if Senator Bosworth will leave the room, as well as if your parents were just here, and then Senator Hutton, you will have a 10-minute period of presentation, followed by 5 minutes of question and answer, 5 minutes of prepared witness, with 2.5 minutes of question and answer for that. And do you have, yes.
I got it. I know how we're gonna Yeah.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
My name is Abby Hutton, and I'm a freshman industrial engineering student from Springdale, Arkansas. But more importantly, I am the loudest and proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2018. Hey! Thank you. Just to give you all a little background about myself, I have in fact survived the first semester of freshman engineering. Gigs, I can't say that other word yet. But I was accepted into my major, and I'm so excited to be a part of that. I got to serve in last session as one of the freshman senators, and I was a part of the constituency affairs chair from the beginning, and I really just felt connected to that area, and so I'm going to talk about that more as we move on through the rest of my presentation. I am a proud member of Kappa Alpha Theta. Woo! And there I get to serve as the facility management director, which means I get to tell plenty of people to take out your trash, please, and submit your menus so that we all stay fed and in good shape. I had the honor of being selected as a muster host, and I also served as an elected delegate. So, Senate, I have a secret for you. I don't know if you know. Sorry. It's kind of awkward, but I'm a fishy. It's kind of a dirty word, but I stand before you and I say that I would not be here today if it weren't for the support of that community. They welcomed a out-of-state student who literally did not know a single person at this university. And I'm grateful for that, and I am not ashamed. So just wanted to mention that. Anyway, moving on. Legislation. Over the past semester and a half in Senate, I've gotten to work with a couple other senators to submit some stuff that I really thought could help our student body. So the first bill I got to be a part of was actually now student body president Benigno helped sponsor, and it was to try to keep all the little fish on the third deck from swimming too much. So I don't know if y'all knew this, but on the third deck of Kyle Field, there was not a gutter on the new overhang. And so there were about 2 or 3 rows where we just got swamped. And that's no fun. No one wants to go to a football game. I believe it was Mizzou when we were just getting drenched. And so that was the first bill we tried to go forward with. I had a failed piece of legislation, but that doesn't mean I didn't try. And it was trying to make it so that there were more flexible hours in parking garages. Kind of worked, kind of didn't. And finally, there's a bill that was just submitted to the last session, and it might end up coming over here. But it was just to try to work on an internal development of senators, just trying to bring out the best in each of us. And like Senator Rosen touched on, just trying to make ourselves better by developing each other. Excuse me. I was a part of the Protect the Century Tree bill to try to keep people from hammocking. That's a pretty good bill. And then also, I was a part of the Personal Protection Act, so those were handy. Next, I wanted to talk about how I have worked on outreach as a senator. So constituency affairs is getting the word out to the people and trying to meet the constituents where they are and get their input on legislation, get their input on all sorts of things, and really involve them. And so I wanted to show you that for me, CA starts with me. It isn't just an office that I'm running for, it is something that I have committed myself to over the past year. So first, I have my Facebook Senate page, and it is a wonderful place. Maybe y'all got to look at it. And there I post weekly, or bi-weekly, updates of what's going on in Senate. And so I go bill by bill through what I voted for and what I supported and reasoning behind that. And I try to leave myself open to any questions that anyone would have on those bills. And so if you guys want to challenge me on any of that, I try to be an open book. So it's all published there for you to see. Next, I have tried to send out some surveys. And so I understand that these are not official referenda and that they can have to be taken with a grain of salt. But I've done my best to make them so that you have to have a NetID login and all sorts of different things so that I get the most accurate results that I can with the resources that I currently have. And finally, I wanted to talk about my accountability. I really have tried to keep myself as an open book. I want to be honest and upfront in everything that I do. So I have always tried to take some feedback from my constituents and make sure that I'm available to them. Next, I would like to talk about my goals for the Constituency Affairs Committee. First, I'd like to talk about outreach. Y'all got a taste of my outreach earlier today. And as you can tell, I'm really good at spurring conversations and creative feedback. And so that's something that I'd like to carry over into the Constituency Affairs position. I like to get feedback from other people and start conversations, and I think that that's important. Next, I would like to talk about Senator resources. So this was actually in here before the email problem today, but I tried to send out an email to the entire freshman class because all of you, I don't know if you knew this, I found this out when I was running, every A&M student's email is published, and so we have access to all of them. However, if you try to send an email to 11,000 students, your email will shut down. You'll be locked out of your TAMU Gmail for a little bit of time. It's really unfortunate. But if I were elected as CA chair, I try to promote better ways for us to be able to reach out to our constituents and make it easier for us to get a hold of them and them to get a hold of us. And so next, I'd like to talk about accountability. And so I said that I want a way for us to be able to reach out to our constituents, but I think we need to meet our constituents halfway. We can't just stand at our table in the MSC and say, come talk to me, I'm student senate, love me. I want us to meet each constituent halfway or more. I want to reach out to each of them and say, how can I serve you? I want to be all about service and I want to be about accountability. And if that means that some of us hold individual office hours, maybe on, if we're off campus, maybe we go hang out on Sorority Row and we have a fun table there and give snacks or something. Or if you're engineering, you go out to that faraway land of East Campus that isn't really a thing and sit at the Emerging Technologies building. I think that if each of us makes it our personal goals to reach out to our constituents, then that would really change how people think about Senate. And I think that it would make us an even more powerful body. And so I would like to be part of that, and I'd like to be a part of equipping each of us to become part of that. And so, without further ado, I would like to say thanks, gig 'em, and press the button and vote for HUD. Also, before I open for questions, if you guys would like, there is more information about like personal qualifications and stuff if you continue through this presentation. So I now open myself up to questions.
We will now begin with questions, starting with Pro Tem Dean.
Bridget Dean off campus. So, first your preface.
Yes, ma'am.
So part of the CA job is handling Facebook. Can you guys talk about how you plan on pushing that out with, the like 20 surveys we have done here? So just how you plan on reaching the constituents.
Right. On average, my Facebook is getting over 1,500 hits per week personally. And so I think that if I extend that to a broader platform where we can all be using things like what Abby Muster does, where they have every Muster host share their posts so that it kind of fakes out the coding in Facebook and brings it to the top of everyone's time. So I think we capitalize on the resource that we have, almost 80 people in this room, and use the resources already in place, like the monthly newsletter, then I think we can really capitalize the outreach of Senate through social media. So thank you for that question.
Next question goes to Senator Hood.
Senator Hood, off campus. So one thing that we use in the Senate is the ag input boxes. Do you have any plans, which is under the stage here, do you have any plans for the ag input boxes going through?
Thank you so much for that question, Joseph. So currently there are 5 ag input boxes. I don't know if you know what they are, but there's one in the MSC, Wayner, Commons, and faraway places that Lord knows where they are. But I think that it's kind of outdated. I know we can't talk, but can you raise your hand if you have passed a note, not texted, passed a physical note to your friend in class in the past, let's say, year? Got 4 or 5, you know? So it's kind of outdated to think that we are meeting people halfway by having them go find one of the weird blue boxes that are spread across campus. I didn't know they existed until I was in CA. So I think that there is already a partial structure within the Senate website, which is kind of a train wreck to begin with. But I think that there's a partial structure for us to be able to build upon, to have an online submission box. And how cool would that be if all 55,000 students could get on their fancy new computer machine and submit suggestions through that? I think that it's a better way to meet the students, because I think that honestly the ag input boxes are currently outdated. So thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Pro Tem Dean.
Bridget Dean off campus. Are you aware that online website already has a place for input?
Correct. I am aware that there is currently a place for online input, but to my understanding, it has not been working in receiving submissions. So I would try to do the back room work to make that a feasible option to reach the students.
Are there any other questions for Senator Hubbard? Seeing none, thank you. Do you have character witness?
I do. It's here. Can I get it? Absolutely, yeah, thanks.
Howdy. You will have 5 minutes beginning at your time.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
My name is Alex Curry. I'm a live and proud member of the Abby Hutton Fan Club. Anyone else who meets Abby will immediately join this club. I remember exactly where and when I met Abby Hutton. We had the June 4th through 6th in student conference. On the pre-conference day, I walked into the Clayton Williams Association of Former Student Center, and I just saw this kind of presence over at these tables. That was Abby Hutton, and she was introducing herself to every person she saw. I knew that I hadn't been friends with her, so and since then, we've become great friends. We've gone on many adventures together, including a journey to her native Colorado. On this trip, okay, I'd like to think that I'm an outgoing guy, but I haven't been. I mean, I usually say hello to everybody that's on the ski lift, all that. I'm also content to sit in silence and check my phone all day. Not Abby. Howdy! Where are y'all from? Every single time. So that's what she's like. Her personality is infectious. Positivity is unmatched. Social butterfly is a misnomer. She's more of a social unicorn. Mythical creature with similar charisma levels. If If she weren't so personable as she is, she would actually be intimidating. Her parents had to actually make her stop doing certain sports in high school because she was so good at them that she was wrecking the athletic curve of her local community. I've skied every year of my life since I was 6, and after having not skied for 4 years, she left me in the icy dust on day 1. So, very impressive. I also wish that I had a social media presence like Abby had. It seems that every day I see a post of hers on Instagram, harkening back to the time she spent with seemingly hundreds of friends whose life she has brightened, or a Facebook post reminding me and the student body here at Texas A&M just how jazzed she is to be representing them as their senator. A retweet of that one video of the toddler singing about the war camp and all that. Great. There's nothing compounded and complex about it, ladies and gentlemen. She's articulate, she's passionate, discerning, and she's smart as a whip. She somehow balances her beyond healthy social life with a prestigious sorority, her duties, okay, and she would refer to these duties honestly as privileges as a senator, and her incredibly difficult course load as an industrial engineering major. Her faith and trust in God is one of the strongest that I've ever seen. It's obvious that she lives what she preaches, and she preaches love, compassion, and empathy. She's wise beyond her years, and her wisdom is guided by her faith in God, her love for her fellow man, and her passion for serving others. Many great people whom I respect have given me similar advice. To surround myself with people who, just through interacting with them, make me a better person. Abby Hutton is that better person. And any day that I can go to sleep having spoken to Abby Hutton is a day that I go to sleep being one step closer to being a better man. I yield my time for any questions.
Great. Are there any questions for, I didn't catch your name first,
Alex, go ahead.
for Mr. Kirk? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Here.
Senator Boswell will have 10 minutes beginning after. And you'll need to let person you know when to change slides.
Well, howdy. My name is Daniel Bosworth. I'm presenting to you why I should become the next constituent of FAIR, and obviously it's my presentation. You can go to the next slide, please. This is an old freshman picture that I had. This was like 4 years ago, back when I had, like a really high and tight haircut that now Senator Lewis has. So, my beginnings. But a little bit about me. Biopics Act Mass in 2015. Hey, I know I'm going to getting old, especially at the 68, and many of our seniors are being, class of 16. I'm an atmospheric sciences major. I'm originally from Las Vegas, Nevada, and if you guys can't really tell, I'm a senior in the Corps because of these packing boots. I will be a 5th-year non-reg next session, so you won't be seeing me in these. I'll be in suit and ties like everyone else, so that's not too bad. I mean, honestly, these uniforms are really like choking out the back. But anyways, afterwards, hopefully when I graduate here, I am hopeful in becoming an Air Force officer. Just today, I picked my job for the Air Force. Looking for a pilot, but let's see. So, anyway, but that's a little bit about me. Next slide, please. So obviously, the big things, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience, motivation. So I am still currently a member of the 67th session. I work with part of the R committee. I've worked with, Speaker Mitchell is still the R chair for the 67th, and I've worked with Senator Rose. There's a couple bills that I've passed. One of them was the State of Columbus Act, which will be able to get more recognition and definitely get more of the SGA to be noticed on student campus with more of video clips that'll be hopefully be on YouTube. The coldest sidewalk bill, which is basically a sidewalk that will connect both the Sam Houston Core Center to the coldest building garage, because obviously there's no sidewalk there, so it's a little bit dangerous. Keep the Quad Green bill, which is a horrendous thing that's happening. They're going to try to bulldoze over the Green Quad. I think it's a bad idea, and to be honest, a lot of poor guys like to go there. so for recreation and sports, but the main thing is safety, obviously, air environment. That's going to make, fresh milk, someone doing push-ups, they're going to be overheated and all of a sudden it becomes a health safety. Looking out for you, Senator Rose. And the next, one of the big things that I also pushed was a 10% reform bill. I try to push that in 67. There's an issue pretty much with, language of the bill and basically how the Texas legislature does some things there. So we'll see if it gets passed in 67. If not, don't be surprised if you see it in 68. And of course, I was a big sponsor with the law increase opposition bill, which was back when the Board of Regents decided to give us a 1-week notice to basically say, yeah, we're increasing your fees. So I'm thinking that was pretty much valuable, and pretty much we only had a week to pretty much debate against them for that. The main motivation why I joined the Senate was because I wanted to improve Texas A&M as a whole as a university and improve student life. Back when, I was a sophomore and junior, walking around, Texas A&M. The big thing that I always heard is, MSC, they don't have any food options. All we have is a Panda Express. Why don't we have, like a Whataburger? Some of the dorms are, aren't that great. Sprite code's been an issue. Why don't we fix that? 10% was, like I said, I wrote a bill for that, but a lot of the constituents that I talked to, they're not a big supporter, big fan of the 10% bill. And obviously, I'm going to continue to push that. I think that's really important. I think that kind of undermines us as a university because I think we're an excellent university. I don't think we should be set, golden standard that if you make top 10%, then you should be automatically accepted. We should still be able to admit people who are the best and the brightest, not just because you make top 10% in your high school. I mean, granted, that's a feat all by itself. But, you got to show some other feats in it themselves. So next slide, please. So platform, basically outreach. Now, what do I mean by that? Organizational outreach, student outreach, and infrastructure for outreach. And I'm pretty much going to go into that. Next slide, please. So organizational outreach, pretty much, I want to help, get the visibility of SGA out there, especially for a lot of the underrepresented populations out there. And one of the big things is I definitely want to aid this speaker with appointing liaisons. Speaker Mitchell will allow me. And primarily what I want to do is definitely try to get, the help of, the Health Sciences Center and Law School. They both get liaisons, and so the big thing is, like, they still have a voice. They still get, the same Texas Aggie ring, and they pretty much have the same diploma that says Texas A&M University, okay? We can't just all of a sudden decide, have a whole entire Senate decide, hey, we're going to do for the best, for each and every college, except for, the Law School and Health Sciences Center, they're special. No, we have to incorporate all of them because that's the big thing about being a constituent affairs person. We care about constituents no matter who they are and what they are. Another thing is helping with caucus leaders, reaching out to constituents. I know one of the big things with caucus leaders is, for especially those big colleges like engineers, that's ginormous, especially with those other colleges not knowing engineering, public liberal arts. So one of the big things I want to push down is an Excel sheet of organizations. We're talking about organizations. With these Excel sheets, I'm talking about your pre-professional organizations, your student governing councils, and things like that. And I basically want to break down by college. These are the organizations you want to talk to. Here is the president or the chairman of that organization. Here is the professor, professional advisor, the teacher from there, and be able to contact those constituents, because obviously they make a big part of what we do here. And then obviously for the on-campus people, definitely help with getting Excel sheet on there. IFC, who's the president of IFC, who's the contact person for IFC. Also, other cultural or ethnic organization or caucuses like the Indian student organization or the Black Student Union. They are still a member of our constituent, and we need to at least put effort to reach out to these guys. So next slide, please. So another thing I want to work on is student outreach. Restructuring of table hours. One of the things I've always noticed, every time table hours are always Wednesday from 11 to 2. And I think for one, this brings two bad precedents. One, we all know that there's a certain people that always comes out there at MSC from 11 to 2. Okay, they're the same few people that come there over and over again. Okay, we get it. Class schedule permits you to go anywhere time. So pretty much every time you go tabling, you're going to meet the same people every day from 11 to 2 on Wednesday. This is what I'm proposing. Every rotating tabling hours, so every other week. So basically on our off weeks for a meeting, I will try to put a meeting or a tabling hour on a Tuesday, Thursday day. One, because it will give us a more broader perspective of the MSC, so that we can reach out to new contacts. Because obviously, some people they'll be able to go to the MSC on Tuesday, Thursdays, but they can't show up for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that would definitely help broaden out and reaching out to constituents. Another thing that I want to mention is I want to improve our table appearance. One of the big things I noticed is like for tabling, we pretty much put out, great table, and we put up a banner and say, Texas A&M University Student Center. Well, I think we need to work on something, getting like a tablecloth and definitely, getting a good. So that's why I put up right here as an example, something that we can use. Azusa Pacific University, their SGA has been able to, like I said, make theirs and make it pretty, because one of the things we want to show is like, hey, we're a professional organization. We should also, like up here, Texas A&M football, they just call it don't go out there, they come up and flashy, Adidas stuff. So that's why I definitely want to push on there and definitely, get, eye-popping attention. It's like, oh shoot, this is a really nice organization. They're really putting all the effort in there. And plus, how much of this costs? Maybe like $50. Like buying this, table, just something like a maroon sheet, and then sewing something, SGA, Texas A&M University, make it nice. Appearance matters. Next slide, please. Next thing I want to work on is infrastructure for outreach. I want to improve on the ag input in two different ways, in two special ways. Reworking the blue boxes. Now, how many of you guys have actually seen those, those blue boxes that says ag input, or even know them? Okay. Well, for many of you guys, as you know, they look kind of old. They look kind of weird, outdated. In fact, on the side one, if you go to the comments, it says TAMC on there. I don't know if it's for 12th Cam, which we renamed it, or for Texas A&M College. Either way, it's kind of old and outdated. We definitely need to improve that. In fact, the one in the comments, it has some concert for some DJ that happened 2 years ago. I mean, we have to update and improve it because old-fashioned pen and paper, it still gets the constituents feel like it's a one-on-one conversation with their elected officials. Another thing that I want to do is make ag social media internet friendly. What do I mean? Pretty much, if you actually go on our Senate page, there's an ag input link. Well, it's the only place where you can find it. So I would definitely try to push it onto different social storms of media with here on Texas A&M. Hopefully, try to push it on Howdy, a link there where you can click on it, and even try to put it into the battalion. Just have a little snippet saying, hey, if you want to put input for SGA, thank you. Pretty much just go to this website. And then also implementation of social media, definitely help with Speaker Pro Temp with the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter account. We need to update those. Those are so old. Basically, our most current YouTube videos are from the Pro Temp's YouTube account. You can't do that. We need to definitely broaden that out and use that. And then one big thing is we've also got to aid with the SVP with the SGA app. Definitely get that out, help with more of the social media, especially with the state of coldest. We can definitely put our state of coldest video on there with the SGA app. So I think that's very important. Next slide, please. So pretty much that's my entire presentation. So thanks again.
Any questions for Senator Boswell? Seeing none, thank you very much. You have a carry, please.
Yes, I do. It is, if you go on that slide, it's Chairman
Chair Carlson, you will have 5 minutes for meeting at half.
Well, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So when Senator Bosworth asked me to come speak to him, it honestly came as a bit of a surprise. Most character witnesses that come up here and represent a candidate or someone, whether it be a roommate or someone they met at fish camp or since freshman year. And so I was a little surprised, and when I asked him about it, and he explained to me that the reason that he wanted to be there is because he wanted someone that knew him in the Senate room, could represent him in the Senate room without biases from previous relationship. And so I have gotten a chance to get to know Andrew Bosworth over the 67th session, and I can tell you that he is an incredible guy, and he is the perfect guy for this job. He has passion for this school beyond belief, and his acting background is a little different than most of ours. He didn't grow up bleeding maroon like so many of us in this room, myself included. He's a first-generation Aggie. He's not even from the state of Texas. When he came to visit Texas A&M, he fell in love with the school. He fell in love with the Texas culture that exists here, and he fell in love with the student body. And that's why he chose to serve it. He's done everything he can to give back to this university. He's volunteered at Gateway. He was a mentor for 3 years over summers, just helping these students get into Aggie land and experience the experience that he had when he was born here. He was a fish camp counselor, doing the same thing, getting people experience. He wants people to love Texas A&M because he loves Texas A&M. But most importantly, he's the right man for this job because he looks out for the opinions of his constituents. I can look around most of you, and I wouldn't be able to tell you what caucus you are representing. I can read your little cards, but it's kind of small letters. And honestly, by the end of this session, although hopefully I would love to get to know all of you and know that, but that's not always the case. But Daniel Bosworth, going back to the 67 session, if there is one person that you could ask anyone in the 67, their caucus, and they will know clearly, Daniel Bosworth, he represents the School of Geosciences. He is very adamant about making sure the interests of the School of Geosciences are what's brought to the table. Whenever there's any bill that's brought up, he's always been the one that's up there spoken, not necessarily his personal beliefs, but what's best for his constituency. And so with that being said, I think constituency is clearly what is important, in this race. Obviously, CA chair. I'm going to say that word, constituency kind of doesn't roll off the tongue as easy. So for the CA race, like I said, Bosworth does that. He stands up for the School of Geosciences. It's one of the smallest colleges at Texas A&M, but that doesn't matter. He wants it represented just as well as the College of Engineering, which by 2025 may have 25,000 students. But beyond that, one of the biggest roles of a Senate officer is just the representation, representing this body. As an officer, kind of sitting over there in this room, you lead committee meetings and you lead things like that, and you have a role there. But beyond that, outside of this room, you're kind of the face of the Senate. And so with that, you want to represent this body to the administration, to the executive cabinet, to the rest of the student body, and to those outside of Texas A&M. And so wouldn't you want someone who has experience representing Texas A&M? Daniel Bosworth does have that experience. Last year, he was chosen to serve as a host for the Aggie Muster in Washington, D.C. Of all the Aggies that have come through here, successful politicians, many of them probably sat in this very Senate room that have moved on and working in Washington. To be there and to represent that, and when they get to come back together for camaraderie, celebrate all their times in Aggie land, what we do at Aggie Muster. To be the student, to kind of be the liaison of what's going on now at Texas A&M, and to be chosen to be the face of the school, that's something that, is unmatched experience right there. And so just that representation alone, pardon? 1 minute, okay. So that representation is incredible, but, beyond all else, like I said several times, the reason I voted for Daniel Bosworth, he is passionate about the school, he's passionate about the student body, and he wants to serve his constituency. He's not doing this just for some stepping ladder. He's a fifth-year senior at Texas A&M. He's accomplished everything he wants to accomplish. He already has a job. He's signed to the Air Force. This isn't a resume booster. This is something he's passionate about. He wants to serve and make Texas A&M a better place because Texas A&M has played a huge part of his life. Thanks, and Diego.
Are there any questions for Chair Carlson? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll now move into a period of debate. So if you would like to debate, for Senator Hutton, please hold up the wand. And we'll start with recognition for debate for Senator Hutton. Senator Hood.
Senator Hood, off campus. Howdy, Senator. I would like to start with a story about how I met Abby Hutton. This past summer, in the summer 2014, I was able to serve as an impact counselor in Abby's camp, Alpha After. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, Impact is it's an organization at Texas A&M that introduces freshmen to the body of Christ here in Texas A&M. And so I got to know Abby, first of all, during the camp, during the actual session. I know that was referenced in her character witness that she's a crazy competitor, but I don't think I really appreciated that until I saw her with just a ton of other college freshmen getting on the ground, wrestling people like soccer. And I was just really confused with what was going on. I was like, who is this person that's just fighting so hard for something that's, bottom line, not very consequential? And it was Abby Hutton. And so I was able to watch her, I guess you could say, from afar because she wasn't actually in my BG group. But as time went on, at the end of the Impact session, we were actually having pizza at I can't even remember the place right now, in College Station at the end. And Abby Hutton and I got to talking, and I asked her, what were you involved in high school? She said, oh, I was in Girls State down in Arkansas. And I was like, okay. So that set off alarm bells in my head because I've always been someone who's looking for someone within SGA, within Senate, to bring in really good talent for us to make sure we're working the hardest with students. I said, have you heard of student Senate? Pardon. And she said, yes, she said no, and I told her about that. And a 45-minute conversation later, she was interested in student Senate. Now, from that conversation, where she just talked passionately about really wanting to serve students, serve the body, I've seen her carry that out day in and day out here in the 67th session. Abby Biden, like you saw with her presentation, more than any other senator, she reaches out to constituents. She has a Facebook page that gets over 1,000 hits, and she reaches out to her freshmen. She asks questions and represents them. That bill that she did for the Rainbow Bill was directly representing her constituents in the freshman caucus. I can think of no better person to continue what she has made her main mission in Senate in this last year, which is representing constituents, communicating with constituents, than Abby Hutton as her constituency affairs chair, which stands out now. With that, I yield to the floor.
All right. We'll now move into debate for Senator Bosworth. Is there any debate for Senator Bosworth? Senator Soto.
Howdy. It's kind of weird coming down here to debate for the guy that basically said we had an outdated system under my term as CHO. But the truth is that we do have an outdated system currently under CA. And here's why, is we just recently transferred Ag Input to Student Senate. So there has to be someone that continues the efforts to reinvigorate the Ag Input program. That's what I ran when I was CA chair last year, and that's what I'm looking forward in the next guy or person that goes into this position. So you've all seen the ones that returning senators that there's been several updates on our Facebook group to pass on what people are putting in these Ag Input boxes. So that SGA can work to address concerns that the student body has, not just student body, but visitors. Just a few weeks ago, we were meeting with the Vice President of Student Affairs, and we brought up a concern that someone left in one of the Ag Input boxes, and right away he called in facilities at the MSC, and they fixed the problem that someone had left in our boxes. So this shows that the Ag Input boxes do work. So we need someone that will come in that will reinvigorate that program. And not just that, but make it an online system so that students can, from the comfort of their home, tell the student body, tell the Student Government Association what they would like to see us work on. And I've talked to both the candidates, and frankly, I think that either will do a good job. But the difference that I see here between the two candidates is just experience, and that's something that I always focus on when I vote and debate for a candidate. If someone has more experience, that I'm going to be inclined to support that person. And I think the fact that Daniel Bosworth has been involved at this university longer will give him an advantage in reaching out to students and student organizations and to fulfill and go beyond the responsibilities of the constituency affairs chair.
All right, we will now go back to recognition for debate for Senator Hutton. Debate for Senator Hutton. Senator Dewberry.
Howdy.
Howdy.
My name is Emily Dewberry, and I'm a junior from Dawson, and I'm a senior. But I met Abby Hutton as the first week of school, or Howdy Week, when she was going through recruitment for a sorority. I'm a Theta, a sorority sister of hers, and it has been an incredible opportunity to get to know her. She has taken on an incredible role as the facility manager director, which she is the head honcho of the Theta House as a freshman, which is an incredibly huge job to take over. And as well as that, she is officiating and is doing incredible things with the exec cabinet. And what shows about her, what is so great about her, is that she is a freshman and she is a go-getter, and she has surrounded herself with student government, and she has thrown herself in here to do student government, and she is dedicated to this and wants to do this. And even though she is a freshman, she has so much time and she has so many opportunities and people surrounding her to help her and to guide her and to do some incredible things here. And I think she'd do an incredible job. I think I'll vote for her. And you'll vote for her.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator Beard. And now we move to debate for Senator Bosworth. Any debate for Senator Bosworth? Chair Sonka.
Howdy, Senate. So when I look at these guys on IA, one real big thing for me, and you heard it in the speaker race, is their record. And so, yes, one of these candidates wrote a gutter bill, but that gutter was actually landing on her. So that's the easiest thing to do, is to fix something that's personally affecting you. What I really like about Senator Bosworth is that he wrote the state of coldest bill. And for those of you who don't know, Michael Murphy was on that bill, and what it did was it really reforms the way we reach out to our constituents. Before, Kyle Keller would send an email, and yes, it was great, yes, I read it. It was, an email, which we get hundreds of them a day. But what this does is it kind of brings us into the 21st century by having a video that explains every single thing SGA is doing, what every bill that has passed us does, and what the status of that bill is. And for someone to take that initiative really impressed me, because I know people my age would much rather click on a video than read a bunch of email stuff. And it went a lot further than what Student Body President Kelly was doing. He would send out important updates about silver taps and very important traditions, but never once as a constituent did I see every bill that we had passed and what we were doing. And that's the type of things we need to do if we're going to improve our image, is to show students we're working to improve their life here at Texas A&M. And that's the only way to do it. Actions speak way louder than words, and I mean, we can go tell them, oh yeah, SGA is important, but they're not going to buy it until they see tangible results. And so that's what this state of coldest bill did, was it really improved our transparency, but it was also, in the long term, it's going to improve our image with the students, and that's extremely important in terms of Student Government Association, have students look up to us and to look to us as someone who can help them out with the administration as a resource, and not just someone who makes as a body that makes the mug down for scandals and all sorts of political theater. And so that's why I'm proud to come down here and debate for Senator Bosworth. And with that, I move my time to the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair Sonka. Is there? We will now move to a period of debate for Senator Hutton. Is there any more debate for Senator Hutton? We have a motion.
Yes. Chair Sonka, rules and regulations. I move the previous question.
Previous question has been moved. Multiple seconds. All in favor of moving the previous question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. That is approved unanimously. We will now move to a period of
More ballots, Why have you Outstanding ballots.
I got screwed because I just waited too long. And so I was emailing my professor like a week. Last 2 months, you guys so they wanted like the beginning of the semester when you look at even yeah. But yeah, as I said, you guys were earlier, we can move around. I'm gonna take my other one. I'm gonna take.
I wasn't know that. Honestly. With a vote of 27 to 23, Daniel Bosworth is the next constituency parish chair.
I state your name.
I, Daniel Bosworth,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of state office
the duties of the office of constituency parish chair
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same,
at all times, to protect the welfare of the student body,
to at all times uphold the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students
between the students
and those concerned with the university.
and this conservative university.
Congratulations.
All right, moving right along. First of all, congratulations to Chair Bosworth. Moving right along, we'll now move to a period of nominations for the Finance Committee Chair. Are there any nominations for Finance Chair? Senator Song.
Chair Sonko, rules and regulations, I nominate Ray Valdez.
Senator Bonnet has been nominated. Senator Bonnet, do you accept?
I do.
All right, are there any other nominations? Senator Sosa.
Senator Sosa de Verarts, I nominate Senator Joseph Bennett.
Senator Hood, do you accept nominations?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, are there any other nominations for the Finance Chair? Vice Chair? Seeing none, I'll close period of nominations. Senator Hood and his character witness, if they're in the room, please leave the room. And Senator Vaughn, you are on for 10 minutes. Do you have a presentation?
I do not.
Okay. So you have 10 minutes beginning at howdy, followed by 5 minutes period question and answer, 5 minute period for witness, and 2.5 period question and answer.
Howdy, Senate. My name is Gray Vaughn. I'm an aspiring biochemist from the Woodlands, Texas, but more importantly, I'm the loudest and proudest fighting Texas Aggie, class of 2017. Hey! Woo! So, you're probably wondering why I don't have a fancy PowerPoint, but to be honest, I want all of your attention. 100%. Eyes right here, please. I want to maximize time efficiency and speaking, so let's get to it. First of all, a little bit about myself. I'm a second generation Aggie. I'm one of 11 children. I have 6 sisters and I have 4 brothers. As far as my qualifications for this position, 6 years of speech and debate as both a competitor and coach. I've competed in Model NATO, I've competed in Model UN, 3 years of managing a small business, and lastly, in 2012, I worked side by side with the CPA to do the expenditure report for my dad's House of Representatives campaign. With that said, let's kind of move forward. Secondly, the reason I'm running for this position is because I care about this school. Sometimes we get so caught up in, building our resume that we forget about why we run for certain things. So just kind of off the bat, you need to know that I'm not doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because I love this school. And a lot of people miss out on that. For some reason, we get so caught up in just wanting to go to graduate school or just wanting to look good on paper that we forget what it means to actually communicate with people. So, I'm here at this school now. I see room for improvement, and that kind of explains why I'm running for this position. So you're probably wondering how these qualifications and backgrounds and sets of skills kind of apply. So let me tell you. I don't anticipate that this school or this office needs any more bureaucracy. As a matter of fact, and I'll get into it in a minute, I think that this office needs an orator, someone who understands how to connect with people effectively, to construe the values of Texas A&M students and its faculty in some cases. And the values that we have, just in case anyone has forgotten, those main values, it definitely include education and tradition. Let's not forget that. So I have a question here. It's kind of postulated to me, and I spent at the back of my mind actually sitting here all night. How is someone supposed to ascertain education if they can't afford it? Has anyone forgotten that? Because it seems like the Board of Regents and it seems like the Student Fees Advisory Board have completely forgotten about that part of attending the school. According to a Forbes article that I read earlier today, college costs have been rising roughly at year to year at a rate of 7%. And that's been going on for decades. Since 1985, the overall consumer price index has risen 115%, while the college education inflation rate has risen nearly 500%. So, according to Gordon Wadsworth, who is the author of The College Crowd, and read his book, if the cost of college tuition was $10,000 in 1986, that would be the equivalent to that same student paying $21,500 if education had increased as much as the average inflation rate. But instead, education has increased to $59,800, which is over 2.5 times the current inflation rate. That's preposterous. How is it that we keep electing bureaucrats, or we keep electing people who are saying that they're going to give us results, and we've seen nothing? I mean, this is Forbes we're talking about, saying that on average, 7% annually for decades, tuition has gone up. It blows my mind, actually. I'm standing up here right now, and I'm like, does anybody agree with me? If you agree, please, I'm gonna be best one. Okay, so whether or not you or your parents pay for your college education, or if you borrow money, I think we can all agree that the price of education is rapidly rising. Now we need somebody to communicate effectively to the Board of Regents and to the Student Fee Advisory Board that we will scrutinize to the furthest extent why student fees are being raised. I don't know about you guys, but from a personal level, I pay for my school. I work 20 hours a week, and I take 15 hours. And I get 4 hours of sleep a night. I'm tired of it. I think that we should be willing to just not give every single professor, the pay raise that they may think that they deserve, or pay a coach $7 million. Like, there are values for certain things, and I agree. Like, keeping someone, and like, if any of you have Professor Pennington in Oakton, definitely you can pay him as much money as you want. I don't care. The man is deserving of it. But we need to reset our sights. We need to refocus at what the cost of education should be, so that we can allow more people to come here. Guys, we're a family. And why would we not want that family to grow, especially because of money? Family just doesn't allow their family to expand because of expenses. And that's something that we need to realize. So in summary, basically what I'm trying to offer you is this. If you want me to go, if you want me to be your orator, if you want to see results, then elect me. Because I'm going to revisit the budget that has been currently set out, or like in the 67th. I'm going to go through every single page. Promise you that. Anytime that the Student Fee Advisory Board tries to suggest for some reason that student fees be raised, I will scrutinize it. I will be like the IRS of Texas A&M. Like that is not a joke. But I think to be blunt, I think that we really need people who have effective communication to say what needs to be said to the people that are making the price adjustments. Maybe they've forgotten what it's like to be a student here. I would hope that they certainly haven't. But I can tell you, as somebody who avidly loves school, and as somebody who comes from a big family, that there is nothing more fun than expanding your family, so that you can spend time getting to know new people. That's it for me.
Great. Are there any questions for Senator Vaughn? Yes, sir.
Senator Luce, College of Liberal Arts. You said that there is room for improvement within the finance budget, and that cost to students, I guess in your opinion, or at least at the dollar in your opinion, should be reduced. What cost from where? And would you actually increase the budget in any places?
Okay. So the first part of that question, those of you who have a garage parking pass may have received an email today saying that they will be upping the price for parking 1 or 2%, like first 2 years, and then more percent for the next couple of years. I understand that as far as like competitiveness goes to get those spots, I still think it should be a first come first served policy, not a you should pay more because of there's less parking. That just doesn't make any sense in my mind that we would take a parking space that somebody's been paying $200 for and charge $400 for it or whatever for it because of more people have to park in lot 100 or less people drive their cars. I mean, like looking at getting more buses and stuff like that, I think that there's justification to not raise student parking fees. As far as raising let me try to understand the question correctly. You're talking about increasing student fees in any area, correct?
Would you increase student fees in any area to support the programs, incentives, projects, anything?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not. Increasing student fees doesn't completely disrupt me, but increasing student fees that don't have any effect do. So if we can get a student fee that is justifiable, let's say, like some of you may know the proposed legislation to add an extra student fee and so that students can get free books. Like if it was something like that, then yeah, that would be awesome. But there has to be some type of balance. It would be something that we do case by case.
All right, next question to Senator Sessions.
Senator Sosa, Liberal Arts. Can you cite statutes in the SGA code that give obligations to the office of the finance chair and how you would execute those responsibilities?
As of right now, off the top of my head, I cannot. Any other questions for Senator Bonds? Senator Curtis?
Senator Joseph, College of Engineering. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about some experiences that you've had in the past that would be helpful to you in this position?
Okay, yeah. I think probably one of the most prominent was understanding how expenditure reports were done. As some of you may know, if you've ever served on a political campaign, I served on Senator Cruz's campaign back in 2012. My family, it's funny. My family, one other family who helped get him elected, and then on my dad's campaign, there's a lot of paperwork. I can honestly say we probably went through 1,500 to 2,000 pages, filing receipts, allocating what goes where. It's very scrutinized by, I guess, the Election Commission of Texas. So I feel like I have a pretty good sense of what to do with numbers, where they should go, and how to properly get things done. My dad's not in jail, so that's proof of that.
Any other questions for Senator Bond?
Seeing none, do you have a character, please?
I do.
Taylor Bond.
Great. So if you could please leave the room. Mr. Bond, you will have 5 minutes beginning at howdy, followed by a 2.5 minute period of question.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I'm seeing quite a number of blank stares and confused looks. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Taylor Bauman, and I am a freshman economics and philosophy double major from Magnolia, Texas. But most importantly, I am the loudest and the proudest member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2018. Just to give a little bit of background about myself before I give a testimony to Grace, so you actually know that I should be able to be talking up here, and I'm not just someone that he picked up off the street. Give a little bit of past about myself. First of all, I'm going to be a fish camp counselor for Session B, Camp Sable, and I'm currently Director of Communications for Horatio Christie, Christian Apologetic Group here at Texas A&M. A little bit of background, I'm an Eagle Scout and served multiple leadership positions. On Boy Scout Troop 1945. I also served through Eta Sigma Alpha Honor Society, served as president and public relations chairman for different years. And furthermore, I was also the highest ranked speech and debate competitor for 2013 to 2014 season through 5 different speech and debate organizations. So with just a little bit of background out of the way, I want to get to the main focal event, which is Senator Gray Bonnet. I've known him personally for about 7 years, and today I can say that he's not only one of my closest friends, but he is as close as a brother to me. I can give a personal testament to not only his rhetoric skills, but also his critical thinking. We were involved in speech and debate together in 2009 when he first approached me. I had already known him for 2 years through church. He approached me and said, "You're crazy, I like you, let's do a speech together." And so we did a duo speech on The Lord of the Rings, which was not only a lot of fun and was regionally qualified, but it also gave me an opportunity to know him deeply and very, 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 very intimately. I'll be careful with that wording. But through that, I not only noticed his incredible rhetoric skills, but also through debate, he has incredible critical thinking skills. Whenever he's presented with an event or a problem, he has not only the ability to work through it, but think well on his feet. Not only can he see the big picture and have the dedication to make that big picture that he sets for himself, but he can also be presented with situations immediately and present solutions that he needs. Not only is he a big picture thinker, but he has hard work, dedication that can get to that big picture. I think the fact that he's a biochemistry major, works part-time, and is here in Senate today proves to you that he can do many, many, many things all at once. Furthermore, I give perhaps the strongest testament to his strong moral character. I see very few individuals who can parallel with his integrity, honesty, and transparency. It's not about playing you, pulling strings, or getting ahead. He is an honest individual who truly wants to give his service to this organization, the Student Government Association. Furthermore, this isn't a resume booster for him. He doesn't see that as an opportunity to fatten up his resume for future job opportunities.
He is the embodiment of what I know as a servant leader. Someone who steps into leadership positions, someone who steps up to organize people and move things, not because he gets satisfaction from bossing people around, but because he truly feels satisfied in serving other individuals. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, and I can say on my honor, that Senator Gray Bonnet is the best candidate for this position, specifically for his strong moral character, his integrity, his natural aptitude for servant leadership, his critical thinking skills, and his past experience dealing with finances, specifically in politically motivated events. Serving on the campaign for Senator Ted Cruz and his own father, who ran for the House of Representatives in Texas. I think that all of these things are strong testament to his character and his clearly strong aptitude for this position. And with that, I rest. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Bond? Seeing none, thank you very much. So everybody got 10 minutes, beginning howdy, 5 minutes. Yes, that's all.
Okay, Jason.
You have 10 minutes to begin howdy, followed by 5 minutes Q&A, 5 minute character witness, 2.5 minutes Q&A, please.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna get going because we don't have a whole lot of time. Howdy.
Howdy.
My name is Joseph Hood. For those of you who do not know me, I would be honored to have your support for Finance Chair. I am a sophomore political science major from Saginaw, Texas, but most importantly, I'm the loudest proud member of the Fighting Texas Ag class of 2017. Hey! All right, so just very briefly for those of you who haven't heard about or didn't see my last presentation when I ran for another position. Really quickly, just about me, I would have the honor of serving as an impact counselor this year and the last year. I'm the vice chair of Texas A&M College of Public Schools currently. I was in MSC a lot, and I'm going to be enrolled in Bush School in the fall, pursuing a master's in public service administration. I was on the Quidditch team my freshman year, and within SGA, I've been able to. This week, 68 will be my third session actually serving in some form in Student Government Association. First session in 66, I was on the Legislative Relations team. In the 67th, I served on the Finance Committee and on actually the Legislative Affairs Committee, but I got switched to the Finance Committee. There's a letter from Matt G. He was the Finance Chair this last year. I've been honored to have his recommendation for the position of Finance Chair in the 68th session, and he kind of explains the situation on how I end up in the Finance Chair position. So very quickly, can we get some transfer here? Thank you. All right, so let's talk money, guys. So, Finance Chair, the role and the position of Finance Chair within the Student Government Association is the main thing is overseeing and allocating $50,000 given to us from student fees every single year. That's $50,000 that comes straight from student fees. That is our job as senators to allocate. Okay, how that process looks is at the beginning of the fall semester, I will be having, if elected Finance Chair, you have finance hearings with all the committees and commissions, the 14 committees and 4 commissions, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. And you have a hearing with each and every one of them where they give you the request for how much money they want in the next year. And it's our job as Finance Committee to cut that down. As Finance Chair, I chair those meetings. I facilitate communication with each and every one of those committees and commissions, making sure that we have everything we need to move forward in that process. I'm going to briefly go over the financial situation. You can switch, please, within SGA. Okay, like I said, we have a $50,000 budget. Last year in the 67th session, we allocated initially $46,936.85. Excuse me. $2,000 was set aside specifically for was going to be allocated to legislative relations, but they didn't exist, so we couldn't do that. And then there's another $1,000 that's actually still kind of set aside for fishing right now. That's going on currently in the moment. SGA also doesn't just have these $50,000. There are 2 reserve accounts that most people don't know about. There's a reserve account that's pulled from the university, from all the fees and all student fees that are not spent by the communities. So if, let's say Cargill has $20 left over, it goes into that reserve. I don't have a number for that reserve, but we also have a student services reserve that is dormant and doesn't get any more money. And what that student services reserve is the money that we had before we moved to UAF. And so there's actually about $80,000 in that account, but we only have access to about $21,000 of that. We have 2 endowments. A lot of people don't know before Pepsi came along. Coca-Cola was very active here at Texas A&M. They had an endowment, and they chose 14, I believe, organizations within student government, within Texas A&M University, to give them money that they could be using to serve the student body. And SGA was fortunate enough to be one of those organizations. They received 40, we still today, even though Pepsi's here, don't get me started on that. Coca-Cola is the one who allocated, we get $4,500 from that endowment. And there's the SGA endowment, which I will go into more detail in a little bit. If you please switch slides. Okay, so what I want to do is finance share. First and foremost, serving on the finance committee, one thing that I noticed is that we don't have very strong records of what happened in previous sessions when allocating money. We would see that money would be cut from a group's request, but they wouldn't have a reason for that. And so when the committees and commissions would come to us asking for money, and it's way over what they had the past year, we're not able to understand why they've increased that amount because we don't understand, where they came from. We need those records to be able to do our job properly. So as finance committee chair, what I would do is, first of all, keep detailed records of all the committee hearings and who decides to cut what within those meetings. So what that would look like at the end is we'd actually have a book for each and every single committee and commission and entity that requests money, saying this is how much money you requested, these are the cuts we made, and this is why we made those cuts. That strengthens communication with the different committees we have in SGA, and that also strengthens what we can do day in and day out to improve prudently advocating money that's not our own, but is the students. And that's the thing I'm very strong advocate for, is making sure that our student money is spent in the most wise way possible. Obviously, communication with the exec and the committees is also very important. The vice president for finance for the last session, 6-7 session, David Kolsky, he also wrote a letter that's in there. He recommended me for this position. I'm very humble and honored to have that as well. David Kolsky is the direct person that you would be working with as finance chair, and I pledge to work day in and day out with the executive vice president of finance on the executive side to make sure we're spending money correctly. Also, just making sure that we're recording the allocations process, I think is very important, something that we can improve on. We live stream these meetings. Why don't we live stream the meetings where we're actually allocating students money? Okay, next person. All right, so one thing that does fall under the purview of the finance chair is any legislation and anything having to do with tuition and fees here at Texas A&M. I have a number there, 28.7%. It's in burn words because it's really ugly. That's the inflation rate in the last, that's the inflation rate since 2003 here at Texas A&M. Only 28.7%, but yet our tuition is more than double. Something doesn't add up here, Senator. But further than that, it needs to be understood that I, as finance chair, cannot do anything directly to affect tuition fees. That's something that's out of my power. That's something that's done by the Student Services Fee Advisory Board, is the one who decides where those fees go, and the administration is the ones who decide what the increases are. We can only do our best to oppose that. That's something I would do day in and day out. How do you oppose that? System unity. One thing that happens within SGA, or within the A&M system, is you go to the Board of Regents and they ask for a tuition increase. And they say, or they have a tuition increase for them. And we as student body, we as students say we oppose this. They say, well, yeah, you all oppose it, but Texas A&M Galveston really needs the money. Or Texas A&M Cutter really needs the money. And what I don't believe is that students at any campus would want their tuition and fees increased. So what we should do is we should reach out to these other schools within the system so we have a unified front across in case they do decide to raise our tuition, raise our fees. Research, finance committee, after the allocations process being involved, finance committee doesn't really do a lot, but what I think we need to do as a finance committee is really focus on this research aspect of really understanding where our money's going, making sure the students know what the university is doing with our money. That's something that's very important, something that I've worked for as finance chair as far as research goes. What's on my Okay, fantastic. You think? Okay, so also very important, communication with administration and regents. Back in the fall when they proposed the tuition increase, Dr. Jerry Strauser, who's the Vice President of Finance here at Texas A&M, gave a presentation on what those plans for were, and I and several other senators went to that meeting to actually hear and learn about what they were doing with our money and why they were increasing that. And I asked questions, and Senator Sosa there asked questions. We had senators who were there. There was about 10 of us, who were students who were fighting to understand where things are coming from. We need that communication with administration, such as Strauser, such as Judy Bean, who's over the finances here at SGA. I was a really nice lady. Every single one of y'all should meet her. But I sat down with her because I was working on my bill that I passed. That was the Wingshine bill, creating an account for that. And Ms. Bean was the one who worked with me, and she's the one who's over all our money. We need relationships. We need relationships with people who actually control our money. Also, just fighting again for clarity with where our fees are going. Go to the next slide, please. All right, also extra options. One thing, really passionate about this, we have an endowment with an SGA that's $200,000. Our goal is to raise that endowment to $1 million, so we're no longer taking money from students. What I would do as finance chair is really start fighting to increase that endowment drastically from where we are. Start exploring other options, working with exec to do this. That's something I think is very important that the finance chair and finance committee can do. Encouraging fundraising through reports, you just go to the last slide. Other duties, appointment of liaisons, adhering to the statutes. You can look at those statutes in the code. I can answer questions about that later. Last slide, please. And I think it's very important that y'all understand what I'm doing and hold me accountable to that. So, as chair, I commit myself to prudent allocation of the student fees and student money, record keeping of all, so that everyone knows where the money's going, why it's going that way, for future generations' bags. Fighting tuition fee increase with research, alternate options, requesting transparency and clarity, developing relationships with exec and our administration, something that's very important. Working to increase the endowment is the best thing we can do moving forward for Student Government Association, where we can become independent and not take away from student fees, and completing all the other required duties of the finance chair.
Are there any questions for Senator Hood? Yes, Senator Hood.
Senator Sosa, Liberal Arts. One of the statutes that I noticed you included in the presentation was Student Opinion on Fees Act, which basically sets the fog against opinion on any fee increase unless the SGA passes legislation for a fee increase. An act that there was rumors that the SVP violated last session, this outgoing session, in meetings outside of SGA with university committees. How would you, as finance chair, and I realize it's an impromptu question, but how would you, as finance chair, try to keep close communication with the executive branch to ensure that when they meet with administrators outside of SGA, that they are upholding the statutes that they are required to execute in return as student body president?
Absolutely, thank you for that question. So as far as relationships go with administration, or with exec, pardon me, with exec, I actually do have a very strong record of already working with exec. Actually, when I was in legislative relations, I was actually under the executive branch of something that I was doing. I have been able to work with Connor Adams, who's the current vice president, or executive vice president of 67. I'm friends, I consider myself a friend, I hope he confirms this, with Joseph Benigno. He's a very good, he's a friend of mine. I just got done with a meeting with Kyle Kelly a couple of days ago. What it is you gotta create personal relationships with people in the body that go beyond just, hey, this is the money, what are you doing? You gotta really get to the bottom line of who these people are and really work with them and really understand where they're coming from and communicate. Our stance is that student fees under no circumstances should be raised, because in our opinion, student fees and student tuition, that's our money. And every time that goes up, that might be one less meal that students are being able to eat. As someone who's on scholarship, that's something that I do struggle with day in, day out, not necessarily being able to eat. But the fact that every time tuition and fees go up, the money that I'm able to use for food, the money I'm able to use to stay here at this university goes down. So bottom line, it has to do with communication with your exec, and I have a good working relationship with them already.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, actually, Chair Baldwin was next up.
Chair Boswick, CA. I was wondering if you were thinking about trying to restart that Coca-Cola down. I know a lot of us ags like Coca-Cola.
So the Coca-Cola endowment is something that still exists. It's something that it's called a quasi account in SJ. It's something that happened when Coca-Cola decided to donate a large amount of money to Texas A&M University. I couldn't give you the exact year, but it's obviously probably before Pepsi. But Coca-Cola then decided to pick organizations at Texas A&M who would be the direct recipient of the interest from that endowment. And so the $4,500 that we get each quarter is something that happened far beyond, so that it still exists, and we're still drawing interest from that. We will for the very far future, as my understanding now. Examples of what that money is used for: when the SEC and DC trip happened recently, where Aggies went and advocated for the SEC and student interest in Washington DC, that money was actually paid for from the Blasey account. So that's what the Coca-Cola money is.
With 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, question and answer. Senator Lewis.
Senator Luce, College of Liberal Arts. I have the opportunity, I guess you could say, between my freshman and my sophomore year to actually see my tuition fees more than double from my freshman year in 2001 to my sophomore year here in 2014, last year. Do you have any aspirations or any desire to pursue any type of legislation in order to reduce tuition fees?
Well, I'm going to be very frank with the body. I've never seen any organization, let alone the system of Texas A&M and the Board of Regents, decrease student fees and tuition. That's something that I've not seen. It'd be something that'd be interesting to explore. However, what I can say is that there are ways and methods that we can use to oppose any more increases. A really good example is what happened here in the 67th session, where we were literally given a 2 weeks, 1 week notice of the increase that was coming. And so I went to that meeting, and I went to the Board of Regents meeting on November 6th, and I sat in and I listened and I learned. And one thing that we said is we need more time, we need more transparency. You have to start at the bottom as far as working with transparency, making sure that we know where that money is going, and opposing anything that does come forward. I hope that answers your question.
Are there any other questions for Senator Lee? Seeing nothing, sorry, do you have a
Yes, I do.
Yeah, 5 minutes, we need an after.
All right, howdy, Senate. So bear with me. I was last night. Joseph called me and told me that his character witness couldn't make it. And being the procrastinator I am, I waited until my cognitive psychology course, and then I decided I didn't know to learn, so I'll write a speech. So I may not have learned, and I may not remember this speech, but I'm ready to speak for Joseph. Joseph is a great guy. He's so selfless. He's so dedicated, and he's loyal to everyone, and he deserves to be here next finance chair. I met Joseph in Student Senate in the 67th, and when I decided that I was going to run for SVP, I knew right away that I wanted him on my team because of the morals and the character that he exhibited in here. He's known to, one, propose good legislation, but two, not be someone that sits on the sidelines and just lets votes happen. He's known to debate and stand either for or against the bill. And that's something that really needs to be appreciated in this room. So he joined my campaign team. I got to work with him for countless hours. I got to see an incredible man. I want to brag on him, actually. We were the only SVP campaign to receive no fines. And that's not because of me. That's because Joseph put it in my head so much that yesterday I was walking by a banner sign and I saw them with a dog at it, and I wanted to go up to them and warn them, and then I realized, oh, campaign season's over. But yeah, so that's all because Joseph is a man of character, and he taught my entire team to play by the rules. So let's go to his time in the Senate. During his time in the Senate, he offered some incredible bills, and I don't want to list them all off because I'll be up here for forever. But some of the main ones, the Visual Impairment Aid Bill, that brought him an incredible amount of support to citizens. The Protect the Century Tree Bill, as well as the State of the Police Act. He's done incredible things for Senate, and he's going to continue doing that. So what will his role be as finance chair? Well, I'm going to read straight to you 3 of the main parts in the SGA code that says he'll be doing. He'll be responsible for overseeing the rates and allocations of tuition. He'll do a word that I can't pronounce. Disseminate all necessary information to members of their committees and to the senators, and he'll call public budget hearings as necessary. So why should he be the one to do that? Well, one, he's selfless. Like I said, he served on my campaign team as my rules and regs guy, but he actually did something that was even more important to me than just being my rules and regs guy. A guy named Richmond Howard that some of you may know called me and was kind of helping me throughout the process and told me that one of the biggest things is staying true to yourself and staying true to your board throughout the whole process. And he wanted me to find someone on my team that I could rely on to ground me no matter what, to come to me, to pray with me, and to help me throughout the process. So while he was my rules and regs guy on paper, he was my spiritual director throughout the whole process. That's a Catholic term. So anytime I was a little stressed, I was anxious, I had speeches the night before, or that night of, he would come over with the Bible, spend how much time ever I needed, and just pray with me, be there for me. That's the kind of guy you need as your finance chair, someone that's willing to listen to the committees, that's willing to put the time in and hear what kind of needs they have that y'all need to meet, as well as listen to y'all. Because the finance committee isn't the only one that determines this. Y'all are also going to have a big say in what budget is allocated. He's also very intellectual, and this is something that's very necessary for this position. He probably is going to get mad that I say this, but he has a 4.0, and he's going into the master's program for the Bush School. That's incredible. So you really need someone that smart in this position. And last off, he's a conservative. You need someone that's fiscally conservative, that's willing to make sure that the funds that are allocated are appropriate and that they're to the deserving committees. Every committee is deserving, but you want to make sure that each committee has the respective funds that they need proportionally, and he's the right man to do that because he's going to be conservative about it the whole way. So Joseph is an incredible guy. He's selfless, he's conservative, he's determined, he's loyal, and he deserves to be your next finance chair because he has a track record from the past, and he's going to use that and excel in the future. So yeah, I'm open to any questions.
I was actually told by the preliminary chair, your eyes are done, but I'll be pretty nice. So we'll now move on to the debate, starting with recognition of debate for Senator Vaughn. Yes, Senator Turkey.
Senator King, College of Engineering. I'm here to talk to you about Senator Bonin. I competed with him in the NCSA from school speech and debate, and I've just gotten to know him a little more since coming to college because I'm being his witness. And I just wanted to tell you all a couple things about Gray that I believe would make him a great fit for this position. He is, first of all, he's one of 10 children, which means, first of all, that he's extremely flexible. I believe that Senator Bonin and his character witness have already said a lot of what you need to know, which is that he has experience in political campaigning both for Ted Cruz and for his own dad. He has a lot of experience with bookkeeping and paperwork and things like that. What I mostly wanted to share was one little anecdote, so I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but Senator Bonin is putting himself through college, and he's in a difficult major, and he has a job, but he always makes it a point to go to Breakaway every single week. And I vividly remember one time he had a huge important exam the next day, but he actually brought his notes for his exam to Breakaway and was studying them in between songs. So I thought that was a really great indication of his passion, and I strongly believe that he'll bring that same passion and dedication to the position of finance manager. And with that, I yield my time to the floor.
All right, we'll now start with the debate for Senator Hood, starting with Person.
So I've also had to work all creating Joseph the last year and a half, and something that always resonated is that one, his character, of course, that Michael spoke about. And while character is very important for a finance chair, I think we as a body need to make sure that we put someone in this position that shows awareness of their position and make sure they know what they're doing before they take it on. I think just listening through both presentations, it is clear, at least to me, that Joseph is not only aware of the position, but very prepared to enter it. He's been a member on the Finance Committee this entire last 67th session, and he is by far ready to take a chair position, and I just want to make sure that my members that this chair is very important. And with that, I yield to Senator Miller.
Howdy, Senate. My name is Trey Miller. I'm a senator, and I'm debating on behalf of Senator Hood as well. I actually got the honor to serve on the Finance Committee during the 67th with Senator Hood, and to be honest, I think me and him both shared a real passion for the Finance Committee and really what the difference we can make. which isn't always synonymous with everyone who's on finance. It's kind of one of those movies that's kind of like, so we were both kind of in there. We were both kind of really stricken by the way this $50,000 that were used is allocated. That was kind of the first thing that hit us when we came in. In addition to that, whenever all these fees came up, Joseph really impressed me by being one of the only guys to go out and really sit there and show up to this fee increase meeting. I wasn't able to make it through that test, unfortunately. But he went out there, like you probably said, live committee and all, was one of the most involved in that process, and also in general was one of the most involved senators that I've seen in the 3 sessions that I've had a chance to be involved in. So I think if even for any position that he is going to run for, he's probably one of the most qualified people to run for. But I also think the personal experience I have with him within the finance committee really showed me I think he's the right person for this job, and I hope y'all do too. With that, I yield my time. About 3 seconds to the floor. Sorry.
We'll now move to debate for Senator Bonin. Is there any more debate for Senator Bonin? Seeing none, I will move debate one-sided. We'll move to your vote.
Close debate. How do I say this? Yes, please. How do you get one of the seats like that? Is it something like a jumpsuit? Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
Outstanding ballot. Do you have any outstanding ballots?
Oh, wow. Of course you did.
Anyone reopen the PC? Words like
With a vote of 43-6, Joseph Floyd is the next finance chair.
All right. I state your name.
I, Joseph Floyd,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of finance chair
the duties of the office of finance chair
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
of the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same,
at all times to protect the welfare of the student body
at all times to protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students
between the students
and those concerned with the university.
and those concerned with the university.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Chair Hood. We will now move into a period of Chief Justice nomination. So we will, Justice Smith, forward, and Joseph is off as well. Have 5 minutes period of presentation, followed by a 5. So Justice Smith will have a 5-minute period of presentation, followed by a 5-minute Q&A meeting at howdy.
Well, howdy.
Howdy.
Well, I'm Jake Smith, and I'm currently Associate Justice, and I'm going to Assistant Chief Justice. I was appointed by Student Vice President Justin Benigno, and I'm going for your confirmation. I am a junior going into my senior year. I am in class of 2017, graduated in May of 2016. So Wildcat that I do, I've never got confirmation of which one I really do. So if anyone can tell me that, that would be great. I'm a political science and history major. I'm from La Mesa, Texas. It's here up in the Panhandle. Let's just call it Lubbock. I grew up about 20 minutes from Texas Tech football field, so I had to get away from that. Not enough of that. I'm the first generation Aggie, and extension, I'm the first person to go to college. So I definitely was not going to go to Tech for my first person to get a higher education. I'm an avid reader. If you've ever seen me just walk around, I'll probably have a book in my hand, probably a history book. I'm a boring person. I'm a news junkie. And for multiple years, just a little bit about myself. Multiple years, I've been strong with the Student Council for National Affairs. It's an amazing organization. Kept to meet world leaders and military leaders such as General Mad Dog Mattis. So you guys know exactly who that is. And being in the same room as that man, you just sense the power. You have to be with Martin Dempsey. My favorite was General Michael Hayden, former director of the CIA and NSA. That was an amazing opportunity. And I was an ISCE delegate. For delegate, I have been a delegate for 2 years that are International Strategic Center for Negotiation Exercise, and that's run by the Army War College. And I have been the head delegate. For such, we put on real-life negotiations and simulate those for 2 days. Amazing opportunity. I'm a columnist for the Turning Point USA. It's a limited government advocacy group. It's made mainly college kids my age or our age. And I write columns mostly. I focus on radical Islam, and that is what major my focus is, and even political science. I focus on international affairs. I am a KNAM radio personality. I have a radio show for some reason every week on Wednesday from 6 to 7, so I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm a scuba diver. I'm an advanced scuba diver through PADI, and I'm going for my rescue certification. And this is the best fact about me. Dana Perino follows me on Instagram. You know who Dana Perino is? If you don't laugh, you do, you get it. She is the former George W. Bush press secretary, and now she's on Fox News. She's a host of The Five, Fox News political correspondent, and the love of my life, but she does not know it yet. As far as the court circuit, well, I started as a JAG, and now I'm here. I ran for Senate for a filling seat. I lost. So when Justice was like, hey, you should apply for this new position, it's called Judicial Advocate, we're going to call it JAG. So I was like, that sounds cool. Yeah, I wanted to get involved in SGA, I wanted to be involved in the university, I wanted to serve my university to the best of my ability, and I thought through the Judicial Advocate I could. I started serving since my freshman year. I believe there's a strong importance guide in the judicial court, so Jim Madison wrote that I'm not going to the U.S. Constitution. Serving student body and my experience in leadership, as far as a justice, I've been the secretary of the court. I have wrote opinions, concurring opinions, dissenting opinions, and even written. So I have vast experience in serving on the court. My vision for mock trials, this is a bylaw that was brought up at our last meeting from our current Chief Justice. And mock trials will help us train the new justices. We have 5 going up for confirmation tonight. We have new JAGs that would be coming here in the fall. And we would reenact certain cases so everyone knows what they're getting into, including the JAGs. And, okay, let's keep on jumping. Spending each justice's role, get the justice more involved on the judicial court. They haven't really, it's been left to the chief and vice. Getting the court more involved within SGA. Simple enough, I'm a textualist, and textualist I am, further an extension, I'm an originalist, and through that I go with original meaning, not original intent. And Scalia, who is my favorite current city justice, and now when I read more of his writing, he has become my favorite justice that's ever served in the U.S. Supreme Court. He wrote about textualism, basically it's the straight meaning of the text. That's pretty much all. Answer your questions.
All right, we will now go through a 5-minute period question and answer. Are there any questions for Justice Smith? Yes, President Dean.
President Dean on campus. So we see that you are very active. Can you explain your time allocation?
As far as Chief Justice, I was supposed to graduate. This summer. I pushed my graduation for the role of Chief Justice. I will be taking 6 hours in the spring, which is during election season, the hard-hitting season for the judicial court. And it is an elective and political science, a major. So that is all dedicate my entire time to SGA.
Yes, Senator Kudo.
Senator Kudo, College of Liberal Arts. You mentioned that you wanted to get the court more involved in SGA. What are your ideas for that?
Exactly. As far as the court right now, we try so hard to be impartial, which we should, and we are. But it feels like we isolate ourselves from the other 2 branches by trying to remain impartial. I believe SGA is bigger than just actually serving university. It's here to make connections, here to make friends, and here to expand us as people. So as SGA growing each other, like a lot of justices don't go to subcommittee. You know, I think that's really important. I think that just small things like that, really just actually getting justice, because no one knows who justices are until a court case comes up. And I don't think that's how the court should act.
Are there any, yes, Senator Sosa.
Sure, so, Senator Sosa, they've already. Very nervous. So when a J-Court case does come up, do you think that, and would you promote, and how would you enforce, keeping justices from not discussing anything regarding the case, or even just talking in general, with the parties involved in the J-Court case? case while it was being resolved?
As far as justices are concerned, the judicial court differs a lot from exec or from Senate. Senate leadership can dictate. In exec, he can dictate within his cabinet. Judicial court, we are all equal votes. So if you want to go out and run your mouth and be non-impartial, you can go up for your own impeachment if that's what you want to do, if the Senate sees so. But I find it as, I would put my role as an advisory role to advise people. This would probably be the best if you didn't go talking to the lowdown or talk to the battalion or put a vote in the battalion. That'd probably be the best, or good. Yeah, that'd probably be the best to not run your mouth and to be impartial. And I believe that maybe my role is more advisory.
Thank you.
Chair Song?
Chair Santo, rules and regulations. Last year, I know there was an initiative to have J court cases live streamed from the ClearPath app. I don't know if that's my presentation, but for those of us who are outside, the biggest case this year, what is your plan on using live streams for J court cases?
Sure, why not? This isn't the U.S. Supreme Court. It's open to the public unless there's, I am more than happy to have the court live stream. I don't really see a problem with having a live stream. Sure.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Senator Sosa.
Okay, Senator Sosa Bryce. So one of the differences I've noticed in the last few J court cases, compared to where I first got here, is that in the past, when a J court case was decided, the opinion was posted right away. People would stay out here at midnight waiting for an opinion, even if it was posted outside and it couldn't be inside student activities part of folders. Which was a pretty cool thing to do. It's kind of like old Army J court. So would you be in favor of returning to that kind of tradition, to where once J court decides that they have an opinion, that they don't take 72 hours to write it up and type it up and get people to come and sign it, but instead if they agree to it, Aggie honor vote, if they agree to the opinion, post it online, post it on the window. Would you be in favor of creating a faster process for releasing your opinions to where there's no unnecessary suspense created in these J court cases?
Well, I don't know whether to use unnecessary. All the time that we use in forming these opinions, they're always necessary. They're completely necessary, and I believe at the time we did use to allocate to these opinions. We put them out as fast as we could, saw that justice could write their opinions, the Senate concurrent, anything else that went along. We'll allow us to think. I believe that's necessary.
Thank you.
And that will end your question and answer. We'll now hit the nominee to the room, that will enter into a period of debate. So is there any debate against confirmation of Justice Smith as Chief Justice of the District Court? Being none, I'll deem the debate one-sided. And exciting, we can use a voice vote for this. So all in favor of That's right. So all in favor of confirming Jake Smith as the Chief Justice of the District Court, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right.
I say your name.
I, Jake Smith,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of Chief Justice
the duties of the office of Chief Justice
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same,
to uphold the honor of the same,
at all times protect the welfare of the student body,
at all times protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students
between the students
and those concerned with the university.
and those concerned.
Congratulations.
beginning with nominee Stephen Schuhart. So you'll have 5 minutes to get out.
Howdy, my name is Stephen Schuchart. I am a freshman communication major from Houston, Texas, but more importantly, I'm the loudest and proudest member of the Phi Beta Psi class of 2018.
Hey!
Flew through half of my slide right there. Some of my hobbies include playing golf, singing, reading, and following sports, including Phi Texas Aggies, and my favorite Premier League soccer team, Everton. Some interesting facts about me. Both my parents are lawyers. I'm half Jewish, grew up in a half Jewish, half Christian household. And my goal after college is to get into George Washington Law School. Other things I'm involved with is the Texas A&M Student Cadets. We actually have a concert this Saturday. Why do I want to be on J-Corp? Number one reason I want to be on J-Corp is because I love this university. I fell in love with this university when I took my first semester. And ever since then, I've wanted to improve this school. And J-Corp for me is the best way to improve it. It's the best fit for me. I feel called to join because I have a passion for law and passion for justice. It came from when I was very little, being trained to be a lawyer from both my parents. Anytime I was doing anything, they asked me who, what, when, where, why. And ever since then, I've been thinking along those lines, from listening in on them talk about their cases. I've been asking them the same questions, developing my legal mind. And also, I want to be on J-Corp because it would give me the experience to follow the job path I wanted to follow in going to law. My belief of interpreting the SGA Constitution is I'm very much a textualist. I believe that everything in the Constitution is there for a reason, be it a comma, be it a space, be it an and. I agree with the 6701 decision, I put the quote right behind me, that says that it's not the job's court to interpret the Constitution willy-nilly. It's the court's job to interpret it as plainly as possible while creating as little contradictions as possible. Thanks, and legal.
We'll now move to a 5-minute period of question and answer. Are there any questions for yes, Senator Chair Boswell?
Chair Boswell, CA. Who would you say is your favorite Chief Justice?
It'd be very easy for me to say Scalia because he has the kind of persona that I want when I joined the J-Corp, of asking questions, and having a very in-depth knowledge of the law. However, Justice Robinson's another role model. He has the audacity to not just play party lines, he's able to be conservative while staying to his values and voting in ways that is not popular.
Next would be Senator Simpson.
Senator Simpson, liberal arts. In one of the last J-Corp cases from the previous election season, the plurality opinion decided that while the election commissioner fined a candidate for activities that happen within a video, and not for other activities that happen also in the video, because she claimed that while you are recording something for a campaign, that it is not considered campaigning. In that contradiction that the plurality agreed with, what do you have? How do you see yourself rooting if you were facing that situation?
I'm familiar with the opinion you're talking about. However, I wasn't there during oral arguments. I can't speak to what went on during this deliberation. So I'm not really at liberty to make an informed decision and speak intelligently about previous decisions.
Thank
you. Yes, Chair Sonka.
Chair Sonka, rules and regulations. Have you reviewed any previous decision and can you explain to the Senate the significance of the impact of that decision?
I've read every single opinion available on the J-Corp website. So I can explain to you the importance of every single one of these opinions.
Ooh.
Why don't you take just one?
The first, like I said, 6701 is a very important decision because it establishes the J-Corp's opinion that it is very textualist. Or also it says that it is the only court that can assent to checks upon itself, which is very interesting power that it has. However, there's also a case, I believe it's 6403 that says, it's an interesting one because it says that the J Court cannot tell the Senate what caucuses it can make as long as the Senate's job is to improve caucus. And getting in the case.
Senator Sosa.
Withdraw.
President King.
Some issues that we've seen lately in the last couple of years is just not being prepared for cases. Can you explain, or I guess how the Senate, how you plan on preparing yourself to be prepared to hear?
I plan on preparing myself by knowing the Constitution and bylaws for every single branch back and forth. Before I had my interview with the president, I made sure that I was very familiar with it as well as with the opinions, and that's why I had a response like I did, because I know everything so told. And the code, while it is over 200 pages, I make sure to familiar myself with it, open side if I get the break.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. You'll exit the room. We'll move to your debate. Is there any debate against this nominee for associate justice? Seeing none, the chair will continue debate one-sided. We will move to a period of voting. All in favor of confirming this nominee as an associate justice, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? And as the chair, that passes.
I state your name.
I, Stephen Shukart,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
for the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same,
and at all times protect the welfare of the student body,
and at all times protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students
between the students
and those concerned with the university.
and those concerned with the university.
Thank you.
We will now move to a period of consideration of the nominee Ashley K. Carpenter for associate justice. You'll have 5 minutes to gain that.
Howdy, Senate. My name is Ashley K. Carpenter. I'm an agricultural economics major and ag leadership and development double major with a certificate in equine science. But most importantly, I'm the loudest and proudest member of the Mighty Texas Aggie class of 2016. Hey! Anyways, a little bit about myself. I'm a first generation Aggie. I'm also a bona fide cowgirl. You probably wouldn't be able to tell by my shoes right now, but I have 2 horses. I've never met a stranger. I consider myself to be your very typical Southern belle, meaning I have a double first name and big hair, and I love sweet tea. I've had the opportunity to serve as this year's Texas A&M Pre-Law Society president, and it was a wonderful journey that I'm very thankful for. I certainly learned a lot about myself and the world around me. I also am a professional, part of a professional performance act with the Sammy Catalina Rodeo Company. There was a picture. Oh, it's still there. I'm the short one. My career aspirations are to be an environmental and agricultural attorney, advocating for the rights of farmers and ranchers in Texas. So a little bit about why I wish to serve as an associate justice. I feel like I have a very well-rounded understanding of how the Student Government Association works because I've had the opportunity to be a part of small facets of the judicial branch in various roles and opportunities I've had, trying to, I guess, groom myself to be the best possible candidate possible. A big emphasis area for me is mediation in the courts, and I hope to bring that to the judicial branch of SGA. I received extensive mediation training, and I think the most important thing that I've learned from that is that the reconciliation of relationships that are affected by conflict are just as important as the resolution of the conflict itself. Another thing, I believe that what makes Abbey so special is our stance on our core values: excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service. In taking on this role, one of the most important things for me is that it's an opportunity to hold all Aggies accountable to these standards, which just further shines and makes the association of being an Aggie that much better. I think that as my time in Aggie Land comes to an end, one of the best ways I can make an impact on this university that I love so much is to take all the experiences that it's allowed me and make it a better place for all students. As far as my judicial philosophy is concerned, I believe in the strict reading of the Constitution until in extreme circumstances when the basic human rights of others are violated. And the best way I can think to sum this up is a quote by Gary Goldwater. I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, and let me remind you that moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue. To me, that means protecting the rights of people that you are called to protect. It means protecting the documents that were formed to protect their liberties. And you can only sway from that when their basic rights are infringed. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to joining you to make the best university in the world even better.
Are there any questions for the Chair Bosworth?
Chair Bosworth, CA, it's not going to be the favorite justice one, but I'm kind of curious when you went through your philosophy by extreme. Can you give us like an example of what that would mean in like a hypothetical, court case?
Certainly. Let's look at the 19th Amendment, women suffrage. So I think that we can all agree that women do have the right to vote, right? But in that time, with that being said, in that time period, that wasn't pretty great stuff. So I guess what I mean is that I believe that you are supposed to read the Constitution. It's the letter of the law. When we let people, or when we let our leaders misinterpret it and construe it for their own gains, then obviously that's not right. And that's why we have Constitution to protect. So does that answer the question?
Yes.
Senator Hennings.
Senators off campus, you discussed having some extensive mediator training. Can you please tell us about a time when you had to mediate a situation practically? Like the situation and the outcome.
Absolutely. There's been several instances where I've been able to use this. I think that the most impactful ones are ones that I've used in my personal life, not necessarily in a courtroom, because not quite there yet. But I once mediated a conflict in between two roommates. I think the hardest part was staying impartial, but I think that we got to a very good resolution for it, and they have been able to work things out, and nobody had to break the release.
I will now go with Senator Sosa.
Senator Sosa, liberal arts. So, referencing your awareness of the Supreme Court, since you wanted to talk about your favorite justice, I'm sure you have opinions that you disagree with that have been decided on by the Supreme Court. Are there any in the judicial court that you disagree with, and why, and how would you rule differently?
Sorry, could you elaborate a little on that?
Right, so Cynthia, are there any opinions that J-Court has decided that you disagree with, and how you rule differently?
From my most recent understanding of the cases that have, and decisions that have been brought onto the court in recent years, there are no decisions where I feel like I'm not disagreeing with the majority, but in the sake of impartiality, I would appreciate the opportunity to further investigate those decisions to make sure that that's what I really.
Okay.
I will now move on to Senator Peel.
Senator Peel off campus. So I'm gonna ask a question. Who is your favorite justice in law?
Thank you. It is Sandra Day O'Connor because she was there. I guess I should have put on a little bit of a positive on this slide. She's my favorite because she was the first, and she did. I think that she made decisions for the betterment of everyone, not just for her own political agenda or her
Senator Simpson.
Senator Simpson off campus. So if you're going to lean towards which justices you like better, I'm going to put two extremists. Would you say Scalia or Bill Douglas were better justices?
Is there any other questions for the nominee?
Senator Luce, College of Liberal Arts. With your extensive academic curriculum that you're taking, with two majors, and your extracurricular activities, you still feel that you practically have the time to dedicate to this office appropriately?
Absolutely. I'm only taking 12 hours to this course, and I have so much to do after. So, not really.
With 35 seconds on the question and answer, are there any more questions? Senator Hendricks.
Senator Andrews, College of Education. You stated that you would have wanted to pursue a career in advocating for farmers in Texas. Would you be interested in sharing your opinion on research for the career of legal action?
I would not like to make a statement on that either.
All right, with that, the period of question and answer has expired. Thank you very much for your time. You can be Is there any debate against the nominee? Seeing none, I will need debate one-sided. And we'll move to period of voting. All in favor of confirming this nominee as an associate justice, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
I state your name.
I, Ashley K. Carpenter,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my abilities
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same
and at all times promote good welfare and promote good relations between the students
and to promote good relations between the students
and those conservative universities.
and those conservative universities.
Together.
Now move into a period of consideration for the nominee Laura Dury for associate justice. You'll have 5 minutes beginning at.
All right, howdy.
Howdy.
My name is Laura Dury, and I am a sophomore classics major from Houston, Texas.
but more importantly, I am a proud member of the Finance Sci class of 2017. So actually, as you'll see in a slide or two, I'm on Traditions Council and a producer Traditions Council. We are still doing this Wildcat until the last day of classes, so sorry for the confusion. So, as I said, I am a classics major, which I realize that that's not really popular, and a lot of you might be wondering what that is. Basically, what I'm learning is Greek and Latin, it's Greek classics, philosophy, literature, logic, all of those things. So that is me. I'm from Houston, and that's Houston, suburb. So I am a child. I'm proud of that. I served as the Abby Spirit Chair for last year, last calendar year, and that was a great experience, kind of getting to serve in that way in a involved in the philanthropy committee for that. And I was an impact counselor last year. That was also, I loved being an impact counselor and being able to welcome freshmen into this university. I'm actually first generation Aggie. My whole family went to TU, which is totally bad. But when I got here, I realized just how special Texas A&M really is, and I had to get on board. So like I said, I'm a member of Traditions Council. I'm on the Lauren Sullivan Ross subcommittee, which, if you're not familiar, is the one who facilitates Silver Tats, which to me is one of A&M's most sacred and special traditions. I'm also a member on CPC Judicial Board, which is collegiate candidate council, so that's a similar thing. But that has given me at least some judicial experience to serve in this capacity. So, why I want to serve on judicial court. I see this as a wonderful opportunity to continue serving A&M. Selfless service is one of the core values of A&M, and I seek to embody that in everything that I do. And I feel that I have certain strengths and personality traits that make me a good candidate for serving in this capacity. Another reason that I want to serve is because I want to gain judicial experience in case if I do decide to go into law later on. That's still up for debate. So my judicial philosophy is textualist, originalist. I believe that we're supposed to read the rules, and whatever those rules were made for, like the intent, that's how we should interpret them. My values align with the core values of A&M, and those are excellence, integrity, loyalty, leadership, and selfless service, and respect. And I seek to embody those in everything that I do, in any academic, social endeavor that I make. So, yeah, and as you can see, I believe it is the role of justice to interpret the rules in the context of their original intent in order to properly execute justice wherever it is needed. It's
Awesome. Are there any questions for Dom? Seeing none, if you could exit the room, you can move to carry the debate. Is there any debate against the nominee? Seeing none, I'll let you debate one side. We'll move to period vote. Confirming this nominee as an associate justice, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Motion to do that from that level. Do I? Motion to do that from that level.
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same
and at all times protect the welfare
and at all times to protect the welfare
of the student body
of the student body,
and promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students
Christina Siemens, and Alice Siemens.
Congratulations. We'll now move to a period of straight nominee. Okay, Colin, is that right? That's fine. That's not right. We'll give you Mitch Patrick being out.
Yeah.
Share this with these guys.
Howdy.
Howdy.
So my name is, sorry.
Yes.
Chair Saunders, rules and regulations. Given that this nominee is a member of the executive branch, he cannot be sworn in tonight as a
Point of information.
Yes.
Senator Hutton, off-campus caucus. How, in what capacity is Kahana J a member of the executive branch?
I'll defer that to Chair
If
Saunders.
I can clarify.
Sorry.
Chair Saunders, rules and regulations. It's my understanding that he serves as officiate for a commission which is part of the executive branch.
Same
Point of,
So, yeah, you have one.
point of information. Is Traditions Council a council, as in a committee, or is it under the judicial branch?
It is a committee.
So all-
Yes.
Is it not?
Is it-
The committees are under executive. Yes, there is.
Was Speaker Weir not a member of J Court and by the same time?
If she was.
Carpool, at the same time.
Yes, and so this is an interesting question because we also have a few senators that are officiates or Traditions Council.
Point of information, have we not already confirmed someone who's a part of Tradition Council tonight?
Information, Chair Saunders, rules and regulations. Does precedent trump the rules, or do the rules trump precedent? Thank you.
However, if
One parliamentary inquiry.
Yes.
Are you not the final arbitrator of the rules, and is not the rules and regulations chair, is it not his or her role to decide what the rules are from the get-go? And so, when, I'm so clear with my point. And so when the rules and regulations chair didn't make a ruling earlier on this decision, does that not indicate that they made a ruling on it?
Well, it's, the rule chair doesn't make a ruling, so they can make some sort of order. But yes, there is this similar situation with the last nominee before something.
Point of information, wasn't that just established by all the nominees that we just swore in, that the Constitution's dead, rules are dead, and they're reinterpreted by the way in which they were enacted. So in this case, if a member of the executive branch isn't allowed to be sworn in while they're part of the executive branch, doesn't that still stand?
It would appear so.
Yes, foreign parliamentary inquiry. Can we get a citation just to compare exactly what rules the other
Without objection, we'll recess for a period of 3 minutes. Is there any objection? Take down recess.
The point he's trying to make is, okay. You can't be a member of the executive. Well, so Saka just picked it up. So this is intriguing. So what you're watching is our advisor try and decide how the Robert Rules of Order works here. So they're trying to pep him up because he's from Sonka.
Yeah.
Sonka's going to get chewed out by whoever chews you out.
Yeah, totally.
But I kind of get the impression you
How bad is the other guy?
Carter Staley, nice to meet you. It was a door.
A door?
We're all
I know
adults here.
abused children use that excuse too.
We're all
I'm running into a door, I swear.
I had a door slammed open in my face.
Oh,
So,
man,
yeah.
that sucks.
It's alright. I just look like an asshole for a week. But
Oh, I had a buddy who had a beer bottle smacked in his face and ended up hitting him in the nose. Well, it broke his nose and all the blood leaked over here. So it looked like he had like both of his eyes were swollen shut for that night.
Yeah.
It looked like he just got the crap beat out of him.
But
We got lucky then.
it'll go away. Yeah. Alright, so continue.
So, but you're you're watching a politics work, so
Right.
pitch and
Yeah.
Sonka's getting chewed. Here it is. Dean is over there saying being an asshole. You stop and ruling it's kosher. The shakedown's happening over here. Yeah, see Mitchell, Dean, and Murtha are just about just about a presidential candidate. So this is, Abby Hutton's fish day. So whatever this call is, she is also part of the executive.
Fish eggs, is that just like a student government flow? Is that what fish eggs is?
Essentially, yeah. So it's a flow created by Student Government Association, and they seed them in SGA committees. So I see them in the area.
Aren't a lot of us student life fish eggs?
I believe Benigno was. Yeah, I think Kelly was, right? Yes, I believe so. It's essentially because that's also there's some very good pictures out there right now. You would be remiss if you didn't make mistakes. There are some those are the ones that give the rest of the bad reputation.
Another thing, so the really heavy trip in the red wheel. To my first night in Senate, because I'm the 6th Senate. She's one of the private house, she's still able to come to Senate meetings.
So citizens are one that are
Okay.
they are.
So anybody can come to Senate.
This is actually how it's right. Curious if it's hot.
Well, I mean, she respected it at the time, right? I remember before, like, the whole case went down, she was like, I'm going to time, right? She was crying and shit. I know she did. So I was mad at this time. She was fine.
Hey.
So after looking at the Constitution, the rules states that you cannot be a member of the executive cabinet, the student senator, or justice. Therefore, you choose nominate. So, without further ado,
Howdy.
Howdy.
My name is Dhananjay Khanna, and I am a freshman computer science major with an economics minor from New Delhi, India. That's right, I'm an international student here. But most importantly, I am the loudest and proudest member of the Fine Tech Society class of 2018. Now, so I'm supposed to talk about myself a bit. I was asked to put in my hobbies. I go with reading and sleeping. It's a tough life. I can't wait for summer. I am co-authoring a programming textbook, as the slide tells me. So my professor took me on as a co-author for a Java textbook. And if any of you have reason to take in the fall of 2015 the course Computer Science 111 with Professor Dr. Gooch, you will be using a textbook I wrote. Now the publisher might not put my name on the cover, but I'll still be an acknowledgement, so you know, something. Next slide, please. So why I want to serve on the Texas A&M division. Now, I am blessed to be here at Texas A&M. In the month of May, on 1st May, I paid my $100 deposit, and I was sent an envelope, well, that was before, telling me that I was a member of the Fine Texas Aggie class of 2018. However, it was pretty evident to me at that point, because of my family's financial situation, that I would not be able to attend it. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, I got notifications of one grant after grant, and I was, until it came to a stage where they qualified me for in-state tuition, and all of a sudden, and it was affordable, and I was coming here. And I got to try out all the other colleges. It's an amazing group of people. And because of my background in student government during my high school tenure, I knew that SGA was something I wanted to be involved in right from the beginning, which is why I'm a member of the Shades. Shout out to Abby Hutton. I'm a member of the Traditions Council, and I am also not on SGA, but I am the executive for University Affairs for the Indian Students Association. Which sounds fancy, but my most important task for every event is filling a Pepsi grant form, which gets us 400 free cans of Pepsi. So it's important we're there to promote the culture of the Indian students and to give you free food. We never charge. So come for free food anytime you want. Yeah. Next slide, please. So my judicial philosophy is very simple. I believe that first and foremost, I must be susceptible to why both parties are present in the case. Why is it that it matters to each person? And while I believe that an emotional understanding is not required because you have to be completely objective when you make your decision, I feel on a personal level that it is very important for me to be able to understand where both sides are coming from, because that helps me understand the context of the case and allows me to use the Constitution and the law completely impartially and completely objectively. At the end of the day, I'm not here to throw big words at you. My main role is to tell you this. If I am placed in a position where I am supposed to make an unpopular decision, I will do it if it is the right decision to do. Before I end, I have one issue to address. I'm sure many of you are aware of a letter that was sent out yesterday by Senator Flavin, whom I have had the pleasure of serving under when he was executive in Traditions Council. Senator Flavin did not go through the student record of the Traditions Council work hours properly, and because of this, he was led to this assumption that I had not been meeting requirements. However, I printed out all the records, and they have been distributed amongst you.
Point of order. Chair's on for rules and regulations. It's against the rules to refer to another senator by name.
I'll really do the word.
And so I believe, and when he saw for himself the records and saw that yes, I have met the requirements for Traditions Council and I have been a contributing member and I have done everything that was expected of me, he retracted his earlier statement and put on a new one where he basically mentioned that he had jumped to a wrong conclusion and that I had met the requirements. I only want to put this forward. When I signed up for Traditions Council, I knew what the requirements were, and I made sure that despite the fact that I was taking 20 hours, despite the fact that I was authoring a textbook, and the fact that I'm on 3 organizations, I made sure that I never, over the whole year, from October to April, fell short of what I was required to do. The records are in front of you. I am more than willing to provide any clarifications that you may need pertaining to those records. With that, I thank each and every one of you for your time and your consideration. God bless and give.
We'll begin a 5-minute period of question and answer for the nominee, beginning with first MD.
So we see that you're really busy. Can you explain how you plan on allocating time for J-Court?
I do. First of all, I have realized one very important lesson. Despite what I may like to believe, I do happen to be a normal human being and not a machine. What that means is that 20 hours is not something I can say a lot of certainty that I've done a good job with it, but that is not something I'm going to repeat. I value my sleep, and yes, my organization is one. But more importantly, I am reducing it to 16 hours next semester. Yes, I can already dream of the amazing sleep that I will have during the fall semester. I am dropping out of the executive position at the Indian Students Association and will remain only a normal member. I am no longer going to be officiate, and I will no longer be a member of the Traditions Council. And I feel that dropping all of these things is important to me because this position is something I'm very passionate about, which I feel and give back to people who have given me so much and added so much value to my life. And hence, I'm ready to give up all those things, and I've already made those arrangements to make sure that I never fall short of what I am expected to do in the position of associate justice.
Next question will be Chair Bob. Next, somebody over here. Senator Sosa. Are there any other questions for the nominee? Seeing none, can you please exit the room and move to your debate? Is there any debate against the nominee? Seeing none, I will rule debate one-sided. We'll move to a period of voting. All in favor of confirming the nominee, please say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my abilities
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same
at all times, to protect the welfare of the student body,
in all times to protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
to the students and those concerned with the university.
with the students and those concerned with the university.
Now move into a period of consideration for the nominee for Executive Vice President. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going on real strong with justices. So we'll move to a nomination for Associate Justice. You have 5 minutes to get
Howdy.
Howdy.
My name is Ryan Ryder, and I am a member of the Fighting Texas Aggie class of 2017. Hey! I am from a very small town in East Texas. We have one red light, and I'm the oldest of 5 children. I'm currently a student in Mays Business School. I'm pursuing a degree in marketing and a minor in communications. I am currently interning in the district office of State Representative Kyle Castell, and I'm also a member of Zeta Tau Alpha and a few other organizations. My main motivation in wanting to serve as a justice on the Texas A&M Judicial Court is the opportunity that it presents. This opportunity being able to serve my peers in a greater capacity. One of my favorite quotes is, "A man with a theory is the diversity of a man with an experience." And I feel that
in being able to serve the Texas A&M student body, I'll be able to experience exactly what service can do in growing our university and better enabling our students to have a great experience here on this campus. My judicial philosophy follows that of a textualist. I find the statutory structure, the principal determinant in interpreting statutes. One great example of a court case that shows textualism is Fletcher v. Peck. It was decided in 1810. It dealt with the Georgia legislature granting land to a private company. John Peck purchased this land. Fletcher then bought land from him, but in between the time the land was sold, they actually repealed this grant. The Supreme Court had ruled that a grant to a private land company was a contract within the meaning of the contract clause of the Constitution. This was the first case that had to give a strict interpretation of the contract clause, and this case marked the first time the Supreme Court struck down a state law on constitutional grounds.
All right. We'll now move into a period of question and answer. Are there any questions or nominees? Senator Chair.
Chair of the Finance, how would you apply your textualist philosophy specifically to the Constitution and the Student Government Association here in Texas? Can you give an example?
Absolutely. So a caveat to this would be the elevated form over substance. In looking at the Constitution for the Student Government Association, I look at the form above the intent of any author, and I would base my decision off of if there were ambiguous words, I would go from the reasonableness analysis. Justice Scalia actually talks about it, and so did your piece, but basically it's a basis. Basically, students need to have fair notice of what they're being governed by, and in an intellectual person being able to understand the statutes and it being reasonable.
All right. Are there any other questions for nominees? Thank you very much. It's actually been moved to a period of debate. Is there any debate against the nominee? Seeing none, I will keep debate one-sided. Move to a period of voting. All in favor of confirming this nominee for Associate Justice, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. And she's confirmed.
I, Ryden Ryder,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
the duties of the office of Associate Justice
for the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same,
to uphold the honor of the same,
at all times protect the welfare of the student body,
at all times protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students and those who serve the university.
between the students and the student university.
And now we'll move into a period of consideration for the executive vice president nominee. And what is the 5 minutes to get it out?
All right, howdy, I'm gonna start.
Howdy.
So this is Hannah Whibley. She served alongside me on cabinet the first part of this year until I resigned to run for student vice president. She is phenomenal. I have the utmost confidence in her work ethic, character, and intellectual ability to fulfill all of these duties. I'm gonna let her do most of the talking, but I want to say that I'm thrilled to have nominated her as the SJ executive vice president. I have no doubts about any of her qualifications. So I'll give you the rest, and we can both answer questions together if you want. Most of them probably direct to her. So, go ahead.
Well, howdy, Senate.
My name is Hannah Wimberly. I'm a member of the Fight Strike Society class of 2017. Woo! And I am honored to be in front of y'all for consideration for the position of Executive Vice President. A little bit about me, I'm from Brentwood, Texas, that's south of Houston, go Houston. And I am a psychology major currently. I guess a fun fact, I have an identical twin. She's in Clovis a lot too, so if you happen to see her and she doesn't wave or say hi, it's actually not me. So moving into my vision and values. The first one's pretty simple. I'm gonna act as the student body president's quote unquote double. So when Joseph can't be here, I intend to communicate his wants, his needs, and his policy goals clearly, whether that be in meetings, whether it be speaking to organizations. What's important here is that Joseph and I have and intend to keep a very strong and open line of communication. This is super important so that nothing is lost in kind of translation when he's not here, so we can get everything done efficiently and effectively. Next, I'll act as a liaison to the Senate. This is really important. It's outlined in the EVP's description, and because I directly oversee the administration branch, that'll act as a great tool for me because the administration branch does a lot of implementing what y'all pass here. What's really key here is relationship building. Ever since I've been a student at Texas A&M, the relationship between the legislative and the executive branch has only gotten stronger. I intend to help keep that growing stronger, and so we can work towards the common goal that we're all working for, which is improving Texas A&M as a whole. Next, I'll oversee and provide support to the cabinet members. As a cabinet member last year, I had the unique perspective of already having relationships with the administration. This is absolutely key here, because I may not need to be the one that's interacting with the administration, but a cabinet member probably will, and hopefully I'll have that relationship already established so we can go ahead and connect them. Additionally, one of the biggest goals we have this year is making sure that cabinet knows what's expected of them from day one, and not just what's expected for the next week or for the next month, but for the entire year. If people know what's expected of them, they can accomplish their goals, like I said earlier, more efficiently and more effectively. Additionally, I'll work with the EVPs and serve as a resource for them as well. Lastly, I'll coordinate SVP roundtable meetings. This may seem like a trivial matter, but it's really not. We have campus leaders from all over who want to provide their insight into SGA business. And I want to provide them with the tools so I can bring that back to y'all and we can pass the efficient and effective legislation. So that's my experience. This past year, I had the pleasure and the honor of serving as the Public Relations Vice President on Cal's Executive Cabinet. Some things I did there, I worked with the Texas Secretary of State in implementing the Vote Texas campaign here on campus, which was very successful. Additionally, I helped with the Give the Vote campaign, and we did the Breakfast with Santa gift drive. That gift drive got 600 gifts to deserving students in the area, which is really good. I developed relationships with community leaders. I have standing relationships with city council members, College Station Police Department, College Station Fire Department, as well as other just community leaders. This goes back to me serving as a resource to the rest of cabinet. I can connect cabinet to those people that they need to work with. So I keep saying it, efficiently and effectively get things done. Additionally, I'm the Marine Ops 2015 head director. This requires me to oversee the direct production, management, and sales of 40,000 plus t-shirts, as well as overseeing 3 assistant directors. So essentially, I'm kind of the chief of staff CEO for Marine Ops, which is great experience here. Lastly, I'm a member of class councils. I am chair for Fish Council, which is the flow, and I have had the honor to help make traditions happen on campus. So ring dance, elephant watching, and all. So that's all I have. Thank y'all so much for your time. Thanks, Jane.
Are there any questions? Sorry, questions? We'll move to the final question and answer, beginning with Pro Tem B.
Pro Tem B and off campus. As a member of class council, I understand kind of the time responsibilities of being Marine Ops director. Can you explain how you plan on juggling both duties?
Absolutely. So the interesting thing about Marine Ops head director is it's a little bit more of a hands-off. Like I said, it's the chief of staff, it's the CEO. I do something very similar there that I intend to do with EVP, which is serve as a resource. So there's not a huge set time commitment. I won't have to be in meetings here, here, and here. It's a little bit more flexible. I can do a lot of things over email and text message. And I don't commit myself to anything that I can't go 100% at. So I'm confident that I'll be able to build this whole.
Next, we'll go to Senator Chair Carlson. Chair Hood.
Chair Hood, Finance. So you mentioned that one of the roles of the EVP is to foster good relations between the Senate and the executive branch. Could you go into more detail about how you would plan on doing that?
Absolutely. So I intend to do something along the lines of mixers. I believe fully in that we need to get to know each other as friends and on a personal level before we work with each other professionally. That happens in any role, and you see that even in Fortune 500 companies. People that work together and know each other on a personal level are more likely to work better in professional settings. So whether that's, hey guys, let's all go to Rudy's and eat barbecue together and students like to eat barbecue, and just meet each other and get to know each other on a personal level. Additionally, I want to help foster relationships between, say, finance and the finance chair and the executive cabinet. Just being there, another person that you can go to and say, hey, what is finance thing? And I can help you out there.
Sure, I'll give you thoughts.
Okay, so on that level, so let's say can I, permission premise?
Absolutely.
Very briefly. Let's say there is a conflict with SGA, especially at the beginning of the year when those mixers aren't happening, where there aren't necessarily those relationships formed. And let's say by some wild fantasy, there was a conflict between SGA and the executive, or between Senate and the executive branch. How would you handle that conflict specifically?
Absolutely, that's a great question. First and foremost, I don't believe in resolving any type of conflict over email, text message, cell phone. I think face-to-face communication is something we've lost recently, and I value that so much. So getting together just to sit down and talk like that, it doesn't have to be a yelling match, and I don't think anything ever should be. But sitting down and talking about the issues impartially, and I think that goes an incredibly long way.
Next, we'll move to Chair Carlson.
Chair Carlson, Student Services, Appreciation Purpose.
That's it.
So Hannah, as you're well aware, the previous two EVPs have resigned midway through their term as elected supervisor. Do you have any intentions on following that term?
I intend to serve the full year as Executive Vice President.
Are there any other questions? Oh, yes, Senator.
Senator, off campus, what would you say is the biggest obstacle you're going to face this next year, and how do you plan for that?
That's a great question. Thank you. I think I would say the biggest obstacle would be keeping everything in perspective. We have a short time here. We have a year. We can't say that we're going to try to accomplish these huge, massive goals, but what we can do is take little steps to improve the ag community. That's really all we can ask for this year.
Next, we'll move to President Dean.
Being off campus, for clarification reasons, do you think it is, I guess, justified for someone to serve in capacity as EVP while they're associate president?
That's a great question. Thank you. I don't see, unless there's a direct conflict of interest, which I think would come with that person determining what their policy should be, that kind of thing. I don't see a direct conflict.
Now we move on to Senator Straw.
Luke Straw there off campus. So back to what you said earlier about what you can accomplish in a year. You said we're only going for a series of little steps. Do you have any major goals you'd like to accomplish, or are they all small ones?
That's a great question. I think major goals are going to come when we determine the entire new cabinet, because I'm here as a resource to him. I'm here as a resource to Joseph. I know he has some great big policy goals to attack, and I want to be there every step of the way to attack those. I think that'll come when we determine the entire cabinet, because I'm certainly not going to be the only one that's determining what we're going to do, and that will not be just to do so.
Now we'll move on to
Chair Sonic, rules and regulations. Remember, it's a little bit hazy on this, but last year, the EVP nominee, Joseph Benigno, said a similar thing to you that you said tonight, they would not resign. So can you look at that camera and say, if I run for SVP, I will not resign from my EVP position for the student body?
And the period of question and answer has just expired.
Chair Sonic, rules and regulations, I move to extend the period of question and answer by 15 seconds.
17 AAA.
All right, all in favor of extending period of question and answer by 15 seconds, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Vision.
Vision. All in favor, please stand. All right, all against, please stand. And by motion of 34 for and 12 against, that motion fails.
Chair Carlson, Student Services, I motion to extend the period of Q&A by 2 minutes.
All right, we have now a motion to extend by 2 minutes. All in favor of extending it by 2 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we'll do 2 minutes then.
Play
So,
ball.
If you'd like to answer the question, I'll start after learn to start.
Can you repeat the question?
Chair Saunders, Rules and Regulations. Last year, at about this time, the Executive Vice President nominee said things similar to you, that they would not resign and try to press VP. So I was asking if you could look into the camera and go on record before the student body and say, if I run for student body president, I will not resign from my EVP position. Can you make that commitment, Justin?
I don't think I can make the commitment to say that for a number of reasons. First of all, I have not thought to the point of running for student body president. My only intention right now is to be confirmed as executive vice president. That's a long way away.
Next was Chair Hood.
Chair Hood, Finance. So I think a lot of this boils down to one question, which is why Executive Vice President? Why are you filling this role? Why are you filling the Executive Vice President role? Why did you apply for that? What is your motive, if you will, behind this?
Absolutely. My motive for running for executive vice president is very simple, and it's kind of cliche, but I want to serve Texas A&M University. Moreover, from that, I feel the need to serve alongside Joseph Benigno. I'm passionate about what he wants to accomplish. I'm also passionate about what SGA does in general. Guys, we are very lucky right here to be sitting in this room making decisions that affect the entirety of the student body. And that's not something that I take lightly, and it's not something that I think that should be taken lightly. And if I can serve in any way to help improve student life in Texas A&M, and this is the way I can do it, I'd be glad to serve.
With 30 seconds remaining, we will move on to Senator Lewis.
Senator Lewis, College of Liberal Arts. You said that you were waiting until you had a full cabinet before you worked in any directions on anything. Is there anything specifically that's close to your heart? Anything that is your own personal goals? Anything that you would like to direct that cabinet once you actually have it in a direction?
Absolutely. I want to help cabinet, and moreover, I want to help cabinet and other individuals within student government develop as leaders. We have a great opportunity, like I said earlier, to develop here and to help Texas A&M grow better. And I hope that throughout the process, I can help those cabinet members and other members of SGA become better leaders and realize all the amazing things that they're doing.
All right, with that, the period of question and answer has expired. Yes, Griffin D.
How much time do we have left remaining in this room?
We have less than 4 minutes. So with that, if the nominee please exit the room, we will move into a period of debate on the nomination. Is there any debate against the nominee? Chair Carlson.
Chair Carlson, Student Services. Based on a chair's question that she was unable to commit to not resigning from her position. Like he mentioned, the previous 2 executive vice presidents have resigned from their position midway through. And there's a trend here that we can't let continue here at Texas A&M. She said she fulfilled her duties throughout her term as executive vice president, but she never answered when her term would end. So if we confirm Ms. Wimberly tonight, we're leaving that door open for that. This confirmation may not last the entire session. We could be here in February confirming another executive vice president. So let's not let that be a choice. Let's, make sure it's someone that's going to commit to serving in their role for their entire role, for the entirety of it.
Chair Springer.
How much time do I have?
You have 1.5 minutes.
Alright. Chair Springer, legislative affairs. Real quick, guys, I wouldn't have thought twice about this confirmation until I heard the lack of commitment from Carlos's question. I cannot begin to explain to you the gravitas of that situation. It is absolutely imperative that we have a full commitment. Otherwise, I just cannot stand lack of commitment. Not that it necessarily may be that, but I need someone to be able to say, I will be here all year for SGA so we can be better. Because if we're building a relationship between each other and that's cut off halfway through the year, we might as well get somebody that's going to be here the whole time and not waste our time. Because it's just ruined the relationship halfway through, and I do not want that possibility. So unless someone can stand in front of this body and say, I commit to being your EVP all year, I cannot possibly confirm that person. And with that, I yield to.
All right, is there any debate for the nominee? Senator Rose.
Senator Rose, Freshman Caucus, I would have rather that she had been able to stand up here and tell us that she was going to serve a full term, because I feel like that's the purpose of this job. I feel like, they should be committing to build that relationship. But it's not just being in that seat that she is going to be an EVP, hopefully. She's going to be confirmed as an EVP because she's able to build relationships, to build a machine that can run the executive branch. It's not just one person. It's not just her. The last two EVPs who resigned to run for SDP have done so because they're the type of ambitious, competent people who function multiple jobs.
Are you debating for or against the nominee?
For.
Okay.
In case that's not clear, I think that she deserves to be EVP because you're not going to find someone who is competent and ambitious and isn't thinking about following in their footsteps. I yield the floor to Abigail.
Senator Hutton off campus. I have served under Hannah Wimberly for the past year, and she over and over reiterated today that she wants to help the other people of the executive committee. I cannot say enough how much she has helped me throughout this year, and this is the role that she wants to commit to moving forward. She is constantly reaching out to people on her committee, asking us if there is anything she can do for us, while we are the ones who are supposed to be serving her. I think she's more than qualified for this position, and I believe that she deserves our appointment. I yield to Senator Miller.
Ladies and gentlemen, while I appreciate the veracity and courage of your discussion, this room is now over. The building is closed. We will need to continue this discussion at another Senate meeting, but that Senate meeting will not be tonight. Pro Tem Dean will take the closing roll call. Thanks, man.
Hey, and also if you could really fast when you do your things, the placards, try to put them in alphabetical order.
I'm an engineer.
You can do it. I have faith in you. Okay. Roll call. SVP Benigno. Speaker Mitchell. Myself. Salka. Henderson. Springer. Carlson. Gordon. Zhang. Allen. Pearl. Ives. Walker. Roach. Renfro. Smith. Chapman. Skyborn. Hey, if y'all can keep it down, that'd be great. Lander. Rose. Balthazar. De Leon. Hendricks. Nichols. Hess. Keith. Lambert. Page. Parker. Turpin. Ebedat. Dubiar. Kupla. Luce. Schaller. Schaller. Sosa.
Howdy. You say strawberry?
Oh, there you go. Day. Flavin. Roseanne. Golden. Humble. Nally. Shelton. Bryce. Blackman. Hey, if y'all could stay quiet, that'd be great. Bonin. Brennan. Campbell. Chin. Collins. Swivis. Dewberry. Emmons. Penny. Giles. Gill. Hemphill. Bud. Cruz. Loving. McNair. Mendoza. Miller. O'Donnell. Hill. Crouch. Rusty. Simpson. Cook. Sweet. Osborne. Asher.
Please stay in order.
Grimminger. Statham. Strother. Trano. Turner. Patel. Habib. Perez. Pizza. Come get pizza. One for now. You were here to buy. Yeah. I didn't say it every weekend. Hey, if you're here in a minute, I need help putting this table set.
Yeah.
No problem. Hey, I got a picture. I asked some people. I was in okay. I never liked their pictures. I'm also here. Get another piece. I love my cake. I haven't had one. Mom, feed me. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay. What? Mitchell, do you want a piece?
No, all right.
I am meeting at 8.
Do you just want the girls?
All right.
I had an image of you just like.
I have one more pizza. Okay. You're an all-nighter. Woohoo!
Because in sin, that's it.
Guys, can I get the table?
Hey, Bonnie, I got a yes.
Do you like it? Good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very good.
So we have everyone. And so I am at my knees. It's literally the closest. No, I did topping once.
Good. Glad you're driving.
Is it okay?
Y'all remember last year when I was the only person to stand up?
Yeah, I remember.
Fall.
There's no hole.
I asked you questions.
There's two.
I had a souvenir for you, it was like this, but I got it, and I'm trying to find it.
Don't worry about it.
We said that we just here.
There you go.
But then,
The official chief judge of Boca County.
Wait, was that rewind Brandon Cooper?
Yes.
That means so much.
Yeah.
we're gonna have these guys, back, please, back row. Yeah, back row.
Oh, no.
Yeah, one more ball.
And it is the award.
Oh, wait, it's still recording.
Ones that are behind the slot.
It's still recording.